Yes, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. This is Sunday night. That means it's the Spurs review. Myself and the star-studded panel have just all come back from a shopping trip in Zara just to see what's in there, to see what we can buy. And we found a left winger that absolutely ruined Porro for 90 minutes. I have got Jay, the Hotspur Cave here. I have got Danny from the Hotspur Hood. Dan from the Spurs Danlist. We've got Stelios from Tottenham Away. And we've got Johnny H from Tottenham and Insta and all those lovely places. Big up to you, gentlemen. I'm not going to do the whole how are we all. Look, I'm going to go straight into it. Before anyone thinks that's rude, I've just been speaking to these guys backstage and they're all fine. They assure me they're all fine. Big up to you in the chat. Let's start as we mean to go on. Please smash that like button. I'm bored of asking. Just smash it as a payment. And please do subscribe to every single person on the chat. Let me just set the stool nice and early. Mods, please do not block anyone. I will do the blocking, okay? I'm getting bored of people being blocked for having a different opinion and then me getting attacked for it. So please, I will do the blocking. Feel free to time someone out if they're being completely rude, but I will permanently block people if I need to. Where to start, guys? We've beaten Liverpool 1-0, and then we've beaten Tamworth 3-0, but after extra time. I'm going to start off with this, guys. We're playing the lowest ranked team in the FA Cup that's left. We're away to them. Nearly all of their players, I believe, are part-time footballers. I believe their goalkeeper's a surveyor. I believe that one of their midfielders is a lecturer. Someone on the wing works in a shop. And Tottenham Hotspur have not managed to score past them in 90 minutes. And that's their first game in 11 that they've kept a clean sheet. Guys, what on earth happened today? Can we sit there as fans and say, well, the main thing is that we're through, or should we be utterly embarrassed with that performance? Anyone can take it away.
I would say it's embarrassing, right? And if you don't think so, then I can't help you, really. I mean, listen, let's be honest, right? Their nickname's the Lambs, and before the game, I thought it was going to be us leading them to slaughter.
In
the 96th minute, if you're a Spurs fan, right, and you're sat there and you're telling me you were cool as a cucumber as he ran into the box, thank God he messed that up. Because if that goes in, that is Tottenham's most embarrassing defeat since 1914, 1915. The last time we lost to a non-league team, when I'm not even sure we were in the league as proper, because the leagues were all very different back in those days. For me, honestly, you got the wrong team to start with. Porro's looks like has been dead on his feet for the last 2 or 3 weeks. He should have been rested for Spence. Yep. Lancashire should have been up front as a true 9, with Timo on the left and Mikey Moore, or whichever way round you want to put him, round that on the side there. Dorrington could have been given minutes. I'm not saying that those two at the back had a bad game, but it could have been an opportunity to give the kid minutes. And then what happens? Nothing goes right. We can't get it. We nearly conceded a goal in the first minute. And then does he react to it? No, he doesn't. Why have we got to wait until extra time? He's saying our players are on now. They're out on their feet. They can't get any rest. So I know, let's wait until extra time before we bring on the players to win the game. He should have brought on Kulu. He should have brought on other players. Solanke, when he came on, did very little. And let me tell you, what can you say about Brennan Johnson and Timo in that game? It was embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing. And big up to Tamworth, big up to them. They put on a fantastic display, worthy, of the National League. And, they should be proud of themselves tonight. And we should be hanging our heads in shame. But somehow or other, I've got on my timeline that I've got it all wrong and we've won. And what is my problem? Okay, well, I don't know. I don't know what my problem is. I don't know whether people weren't watching the game. Of course, we won the game and no one cares about the history of the result. And when you look back, but I'm too reminded of the fact that I was at the Coventry game. And for 87 minutes, we were played off the pitch. Yeah, always focused on the negative. Yeah. Okay. Right. We won. Right. Coventry game, 87th minute, travelled up to Coventry and watched us second best. Coventry missed a whole hatful of chances. And if it hadn't been for Jed Spence, you know, that player that can't play, who only came on as a sub when Destiny got injured, rescued our up. Otherwise, we wouldn't even be in the other game. Right. So listen, we wouldn't even be in the Carabao Cup. But history doesn't care about that. We're still in it. So we look forward to it. We remember everything. Listen, I just, all we want to do is win games. If you think we want to come into this panel and start bitching and moaning and talking about all this stuff and enjoying it, we don't. We all want the same thing. We all want to win. We all want Ange to do well. We want Timo to want to score a fucking hat-trick. But if it doesn't happen and we're playing crap game after game after game, and we have the odd blip like we did against Liverpool and we're superb, then we're going to comment on it.
No, absolutely. I mean, look, anyone want to follow on from that? And the question I'll ask from something that Johnny said there, the team, did he get the team wrong, guys? I mean, I've heard for months now, oh, poor Ange, he can't rotate the players. And you get to Tamworth, the lowest ranked team in the FA Cup, and Pedro Porro is still playing. And by the way, one of the worst performances I've seen from a player today was Pedro Porro. Johnson and Werner, by the way, don't surprise me. I expect those performances from those two. Pedro Porro was horrible today.
He was knackered as well, though, wasn't he, Sav?
He was, but he just, that's down to the manager, right? If he's knackered,
correct.
Spencer's sitting on the bench.
This is a brilliant that you brought that up, Savva, and big up everyone on the panel, big up the chat as well. You know what I'm saying? This manager has burnt his team out time and time and time again, game after game after game. He persists with the same players. Everyone was sitting there saying we didn't have a squad, but for when we had Jed Spence sitting there rotting on the bench, no one said anything. Doesn't want to give Dorrington minutes. Reguilon isn't my favourite left back, but there have been games where we could have rested a doggy.
100%.
Yeah.
You could have brought a doggy off after 50, 60 minutes. There's been times for him and opportunities for him to rotate the squad, and he hasn't. And then what happens? You completely mix and match the whole team. You put a bunch of players out there that are getting inconsistent minutes throughout the season because you're not rotating, and we see that shit show. If it was up to me, I would have subbed Werner off after 15 minutes. I would have taken him off straight after 15 minutes. He is not good enough to play at this football club. And again, Ange has the cheek to call him out in press conferences. Why did you re-sign him? Why did you re-sign him? We all saw he was good enough. We all saw he wasn't good enough. So why did you re-sign him? I don't know, boys. Maybe, but we're the negative ones, right? For just calling out what we see, calling out the truth for what we see, what's in front of us, we're negative. Everyone's going to look at that and be jumping for joy. I'm not jumping for joy. We just gave the Tamworth fans the best day of probably the rest of their lives. They took Tottenham Hotspur to extra time in the FA Cup.
With that,
Tottenham,
it's
Tamworth.
exactly. We should have been able to put our most average team on there, even our youth team, and that should have cooked that team easy. Now, don't ever underestimate. That's how you get your nose broken. That's how you end up on your ass. That's how you end up losing the game. I understand that, yeah. But seriously, this is Tamworth Town we're playing. Okay, we won. At the end of the day, be happy with it. Okay, we won. Yeah, next round, Arsenal out. Sweet. But the way that went on is the fact that we had to go to extra time when we still had an amount of our first 11 players on there before we could even get that goal against them says a hell of a lot. And people are like, why do you have to pick up on the negative? We won. Well, the thing I'll always go back to on that is I don't know how many people read books, but I've read both of Alex Ferguson's autobiographies. And one thing the players really did not like about him, but they understood it, was even if they won a game 5-1, the first thing that would happen when they walked into the dressing room is he would go off his head about that one goal they conceded. People say, why are you going off? You won 5-1. Well, no, because he wants to focus on the problem and fix the problem. Because we scored 5 goals. There's not a problem there. But we let in a goal there. There's a problem there. That's what needs fixing. And so if you're picking up negative points and you're wrong and for it, then Alex Ferguson must have been a shit manager as well, because he did it all the time. How anyone can come out of this and just be, yeah, all right, be relieved that you won, but just be happy and ignore the fact that we just had to go toe to toe over 106 minutes or whatever, or was it 90 something? I don't know. I walked out after 80 minutes.
Yeah, it was about I think it was about 99, 98 minutes, wasn't it? Until we scored our first goal, maybe something like that.
After 80, I thought bollocks, I'm going to go have my roast early, and went out. And the fact that we had to do that should be embarrassing on its own. I mean, fair play to them, brilliant. But seriously, isn't that showing that there is an issue there? The fact that we've just had to go like all the way with Tamworth Town, and they had chances they gave up as well, and no one can see a problem in that. Okay, be relieved we won. I am relieved that we won. Glad we're in the next round, but something is definitely not ticking right there when you have to go toe to toe with Tamworth Town when you've got about 5 or 6 of your first 11 in there.
127 minutes we played. This from a manager who says he's worried about our players getting burnt out. Well, you could have won it in 90, mate, had you brought on the players in the 90th minute to come on and win the game. Should have started with the bloody number 9, a striker, instead of trying to be smart and play Timo Werner through the middle, a guy who can't finish his dinner, and then wonder why we didn't score. And you got Brendan Johnson, who in that first half, I mean, he was under no pressure. That cross, when he was under no pressure from that right-hand side, when it ended up almost going out of the ground. I mean, it's embarrassing, man.
It
was unbelievable, though. The keeper was unbelievable. Yeah, that's a positive. There you go.
There's a positive. Dorrington has agreed to go on loan to Aberdeen.
Good for him. I hope he leaves this club as well and goes and finds a club that are going to appreciate him.
I agree.
The same thing about Brandon Austin. Same thing. Because we have this has been, and this isn't even an Ange problem, right? For me, this is a club problem. Season after season after season, we have these young players and we loan them out. We loan them out. Then when they come back, it's, they don't have any Premier League experience. Yeah, because you've loaned them out for 4 straight seasons. Why not give them a chance? Why not? Where was Will Lampshire today? I don't know if he was ill. I don't know. Where was he?
On the bench.
Isn't the worrying thing? Let me come to. I'll come to Dan here. Dan, say whatever you want, but I'd like to start off with this question. Then you can go on to whatever you want, mate. Isn't it worrying that we've got Will Lancashire in the squad? I think we've won something. Is it like 2 in 12? We've won 2 in 11 is our form in terms of wins. And in all these games where you've needed a goal, Dan, Will Lancashire, I think, has come. He came on when we were 5-0 up against Southampton, and I think he got about 7 minutes against Fulham purely because a player got injured in the last couple of minutes of the game. Isn't it worrying that A, Will Lancashire isn't even trusted to start a game against Tamworth, and B, in a game where we couldn't score against them in 90 minutes, at no point did Ange say, this system and tactics are not working. Why don't I go to 2 up top and bring on Lancashire and Solanke? Why don't I go to 4-4-2 and just whip balls in or go long ball? Isn't it worrying that he never does that, Dan, ever?
Okay. Well, first of all, evening panel.
Evening,
Big up to everybody in the chat.
Oh, hang on. He's going in. I can sense it. Go on, Dan. I can sense it.
Right. So this weekend, right? This was supposed to be a nice weekend, wasn't it, really? A break from the Premier League of crap form. Yeah. I was hoping to see a mix of young players and first teamers today.
Yeah.
Where was Yang, Lancashire, Dorrington? Why didn't they put Gray in midfield? Why wasn't Spence playing as right back? That pissed me off, to be honest.
Yep.
But then I thought, all right, he's going strong. All right. He's taking it seriously. Fair enough. And I just wasted my Sunday afternoon watching that trash performance against a 5th-tier team. And for me, today was on the players, right? And I'll tell you why. Where was the motivation, the desire, the commitment, and the quality in that first 100 minutes? Where was it? I mean, tactics, system, we can talk about that all day long. That shouldn't have mattered today. Our players' ability alone should have won us that game. And I just think you have to really question these players, yeah? I know I've been questioning the manager a hell of a lot, which is fair. That is a problem. But players' attitude, lack of winning mentality, and do they actually give two shits of playing for this club? And do you know what, guys? We're in serious trouble this season. Do you know that? We're in massive, massive trouble.
I agree.
And I'm just going to leave it there for now.
Dan, you are a broken man. If it makes you feel any better, I do think it's the Dan Above's You birthday. Is that right, Dan?
Yeah.
If that doesn't make the Dan below smile that it's the Dan Above's birthday, nothing
Happy
will.
birthday,
Happy
mate.
birthday,
Happy
Dan.
birthday, brother.
Yeah, Dan.
Happy birthday.
Still,
You guys should
let me
smash
come
the
to you.
lights for his birthday. Smash the lights for his birthday.
Smash the likes for Dan's birthday. Chuck in a couple of super chats for Dan's birthday. Why not? Just go crazy. Do what you got to do, people. Still, all this talk about it's a youth project. All this talk about in the summer how good Lancashire is, how good this is, and blah, blah, blah. He's got no players. Porro starting again when he's got no need to. Archie Gray not in central midfield. Never in central midfield. Timo Werner starting through the middle instead of Will Lancashire. I mean, what do you make of it all still? It's embarrassing, right?
Well, embarrassing on the 31st of August. Barnet Football Club, which is around the corner to where I live, the mighty Barnet, the Bees, they beat Tamworth 7-0.
Yeah.
Barnet Football Club. I think their stadium holds about 3,000, maybe 4. I don't know. I think the season ticket's 150 quid a year. They beat Tamworth 7-0. I just thought I'd throw it out there. So that's the opposition we were up against at Tamworth. Look, I've got a little bit of a different take on this. Either people don't watch shows I'm on and listen to the things I say, or people only listen to things that sound really nice and happy, so they don't know what the other side of the views and opinions are on Spurs. I said in the summer, and I said it so many times, I spoke to the academy director, Simon Davies, twice. I spoke to him and I asked him about the youth, and he said to me, there's no Project Youth this season. He said that to me. Our academy kids will not be featuring. They might get the odd minute game here and there, but they are not going to feature. And look at the evidence. Mikey Moore, he's one player that looks like he's going to feature more than the rest, but even he's had minimal minutes. Fair enough, he's been injured. Olusesi doesn't play. Dorrington, I think, came on for 10 minutes against Southampton. He's now gone on loan. Lancashire's had 1 or 2 odd bits in Europe. That's it. Even against Newcastle, when we're crying out for a goal, should we bring on a striker? We've got one on the bench? Nah, leave him there. Right? If this was Project Youth, they would play. Dorrington on loan. Brandon Austin gets 1 start, plays for us. That's it. Done. We bring in a goalkeeper the next day. we buy a goalkeeper the next day. There was no Project Youth. I said this because it came from the horse's mouth. Nobody wanted to believe me. Still, you don't know what you're talking about. What do you know? You don't have these contacts. Okay. Well, I'm not surprised. If other people are surprised, that's on you. Regarding the performances, again, we struggled, like Johnny said, against Coventry. And we had to bring on the big guns to beat Coventry. And we did exactly the same today. We didn't play that great. Tamworth are probably gutted they didn't get something from the game. We brought in the big guns and we won it. I always knew we'd win. I predicted we'd win. I'd say we'd win this because I always knew, even if the shit hit the fan, bring on the better players, you'll get over the line. Because we are far, far bigger than what Tamworth are. So, am I surprised we struggled? No. Am I surprised we won? No, not at all. I knew we'd win it. We're always going to beat these teams. We're not going to lose to these teams. But the manner in which the game got played out is what upsets us, because we know we've seen these performances time and time again. And it's these performances that are going to crop up if you get to a semi-final, second leg at Anfield. If you get to a cup final, let's say we get there, you know what's going to happen, which is why I want him gone, because he's not going to win us anything. And I stick by that. I don't get caught up in these one-off little moments of happiness. Yeah, we beat Liverpool. We're in the final. No, we're not. No, we're far from that. Werner and Johnson, I said it in the summer again. Timo Werner, I said, the day we signed him on that Tottenham, We Are Tottenham TV, I said, this is a sign of what's to come. If Werner is the caliber of player that Levy wants to bring in, that Lange wants to sign, and that Ange wants to accept, we're going to get a very average window, and it's not going to fix our problems. That's exactly how it's panned out. So when you got Werner looking like he should play for Tamworth, not be the player we're looking to try and save us.
He didn't look that good still.
Well, maybe on the bench, for Tamworth, right? Brennan Johnson, he's got away with it. He's not a good football player. There's nothing about him that excites me. But because he scored 5 or 6 tap-ins in a row and all the fans thought, yay, Johnson again, ole, ole. Really? What's happened since that purple patch? He's a very, very average football player. And to compound it, we play him in a position he wasn't playing in when we signed him from Forest. So Solanke, he should have stayed at Bournemouth. They're higher up in the table than us. He's an average player as well, in my opinion. Not that we play to his strengths. So when you put it all together, I'm not surprised by this. I knew this was going to happen with the youth. I don't rate Ange. And the players we've signed don't impress me. I'm not impressed by them at all. There's some that I like. There's some that I really think highly of. And I think a better manager can take them to another level. I think there's players we've got that I don't like. But if they played in a different system, maybe we'd see more from them. And I'll end it on this. Do you know what our biggest worry is? We've seen that when we play more counter-attacking football, we're a much better team. We've seen it 2 or 3 times this season. When we play what people call contact, we're a better team. I'm predicting this, guys. When Romero and Van der Ven come back, he's going to say, yes, I've got my players back. And he's going to go back to Ange ball, and you see what happens then. That's my worry. That's going to give him the confidence to go and play the football that I don't think suits our players. And I kind of hope we don't have Van der Ven and Romero for the trip to Anfield, because I think we've got a better chance, because then he might go low block, we're counter-attacking. Whereas if he has Van der Ven and Romero, I think he might try and take it to Liverpool at Anfield. And then
100%.
It's the Wild West. Yeah. It's the fucking Wild West, man. It's a shootout.
One last thing I just want to add on this quick is just the thing I'm finding really frustrating is, look, even if we go and win this 30-0, we shouldn't be impressed. We should not have to be impressed that we just done Tamworth Town. We should be walking. I mean, they can't even, as a club, afford Dorrington's wages. We should not be impressed in any manner that we.
Dan, they couldn't put the nets up. They couldn't put the nets up.
This is what I'm saying. I mean, I get it at the end of the day with the just be relieved you won. But even if we go and win that game 30-0, we are meant to be the 7th biggest club on this planet, and people are saying that we need to be impressed that Premier League scorers actually done something and scored a goal. And the Premier League players, it just, mate, I don't get it. How am I meant to be impressed? No, I expect to win this game.
Here we are, mate. And bro, you make a good point. Being impressed, right? And Saeed, big up Saeed, he made a brilliant point. Enablers. Being impressed with performances like these and results like these, we're enablers. You guys are enabling it, because Levy will look at that. Oh yeah, we just we just limped over the line in the FA Cup against Tamworth. But you know what? All the fans are happy. They're singing the manager's name. Johnson again, ole ole, and all that crap. We're fine. We're fine. Enablers. It's time to call this shit out. And everyone, if you guys think, we go to the Emirates this week. If you lot think we go to the Emirates this week and we get a result, I want to know what you're smoking, because there's no way we can go to the Emirates and get a result with these players. Nah, man.
Well, I hope you're wrong. I hope you're wrong.
Hang on. We're gonna talk Arsenal in a little bit. Just quickly, guys. I don't want to get too far beyond. I just want to get some super chats. First of all, Dietrich Kane has said happy birthday, mate. Just to be clear, this is for Dan, everybody. It's not my birthday, it's Dan's. Happy birthday to you, Dan. His 25th birthday, I'm reliably informed. Happy birthday to you, Daniel. I hope you are well. John Lee has said happy birthday, Dan, as well. Thank you very much, John Lee. Rob Frank has said happy birthday, Dan. I'll be sure to chuck you a super chat as well next time you stream. Thank you very much for that. Ethan Bates has said the omission of Lancashire was shocking, especially with the amount of crosses we had. Timo and Johnson having a competition for the least impactful player at the club. Someone explain what Sarr offers. Now, we're going to go into some individual players in a minute. Ethan Bates, you are always very, very generous. So thank you very much to that. Thank you. And listen, I'm going to try not to do too many trolly comments today. I've been speaking to certain people in the community who are trying to help me with this. But this one got me. And I just want to say it. I'm not going to call it out. Proximo, I just want you to prove this. When we say we would have lost this type of game in seasons before, please tell me the last time we lost to a National League side. I'll leave it there. 1914. So when he said in seasons before, does he mean over 100 years ago? Right? Like, so Proximo, please. I know that you won't ever criticize Ange, but this is not true. I can't remember that. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, guys. What's the worst defeat we've give me defeats in the last 5 years to lower league clubs? In cups,
maybe Middlesbrough. Was it Middlesbrough to be?
No, probably in the Europa League, wasn't it? Or the what's then we had some, didn't we?
Was it the conference we lost to that random team?
Okay, so Mura beat us in the nation in the conference league. Okay, so in.
They're bigger
Colchester
than
Colchester was what, 2016, 17? It's Poch, right? It was Poch era. Yeah. Okay. So in the last 5 years, because this guy said in we would have lost this before. Sorry, I can't remember in all my time supporting Spurs. And I know I look young. I know I look good looking. I'm not. I'm old and I'm ugly. I can't remember losing to a team outside the Football League. So this. Again, please, this is not the truth. Please don't just say things. Guys, I want to talk about
mud. If you're going to throw mud, make sure it can stick, yeah?
Exactly. Absolutely. If you're going to say things, make sure it's correct. Guys, I want to look at a few individual players. Some players are getting stick. I want to talk about Brennan Johnson. Now, Brennan Johnson, for me, scores that open goal like he normally does. Stood there, almost in a kind of Eric Cantona-esque kind of way when he scored. And I'm going to say this. Many of you may disagree. I'm going to say this and let you guys run with it. For me, one of the worst footballers, right? Hear the word footballers I've ever seen at Spurs. I think he is dreadful. If he's not in the box and tapping it in, I think his touch is awful. His control is awful. His crossing is awful. He can't beat a man. He's the slowest quick man I've ever seen in my life. I think he's a terrible footballer. Discuss.
I don't rate him at all. The thing I do give him credit for is the amount of stick he got as a player, how crap he was. And he deserved every bit of stick he got as a player. The other crap that come with it, no, he didn't deserve it. I don't condone that. But the grilling he was getting for how poor he was playing, he deserved every single bit of it. And a lot of players would have just gone into the corner, started crying, and you'd never seen them again. He didn't. He actually stood up and scored a few goals. Whether they're tap-ins, whether they're good goals, whatever, I don't care. They went in the back of the net. Fair play to him in that aspect. But he's not a good player. Not at all. Like you said, he can't cross on a regular basis, 1 out of every 20 attempts. His shooting isn't the best, but probably his strongest bit. Not that he ever shoots that often, because it's usually a tapping. Is his dribbling with a ball any good? No, it's not. Can he keep a player off him? No, he can't. Can he get round a player without the ball, let alone with the ball? No, he can't. Can he pass short or direct? No, he can't. Can he take free kicks? Can he? I think he's lame. I think that's the only word I can think for it. I just think he is a lame player. I do not rate him at all. I think the most we would see out of him is if we stuck him in the middle alongside Solanke. And my mate Mike suggested that to me a couple of weeks ago, and it's also been mentioned by others. I think that is where we'd see the most of him. Just be your little fox in the box, basically.
I agree.
But I just do not rate this player in the slightest at all.
Anybody else? Brennan Johnson? Anyone want to? I mean,
he's just not good enough, man. Guys, he's just not good enough, Johnson, is he, for us? Our forward line is, we struggle against the low blocks, yeah? Another low block today, it doesn't matter what level or standard they're at. Any low block, we struggle with Werner as well. I mean, what was he supposed to be playing today? Centre forward, Werner. He never got in the box. He never got in the box. He was in Mikey Moore's way most of the game. This forward line is it's awful. It's not just Johnson. It's a number of them. I just don't know. How can we struggle in not 100 minutes to not break Tamworth down?
How is he still on the? How is he still on the pitch? I mean, listen. Quite rightly, Savva, you pointed out that Porro had a poor game, and there's no disputing that from me. But where was Johnson? He never tracked back. He never tracks back. He hardly ever tracks back. I remember watching him against Wolves last season after we'd signed him. Wolves away. And I was right near the front there. And I think it was after about 60 minutes. He was bent over double, sucking it up, out of breath, absolutely cooked. And I'm thinking to myself, you're 22 years of age, right? How can you be cooked after 60 minutes? What beats me is, I'm no fan of Daniel Levy, but all these people that say, oh, this wasn't an Ange signing and all the rest of it. Let me tell you, Brentford had a bid accepted for Brennan Johnson of £35 million. He turned it down because he didn't want to go to Brentford. Just a few weeks later, Levy was forced to pay £47 million. Levy, £12 million more than was already accepted to get this guy because Ange wanted him. No one else. Ange wanted him. Okay. So when I hear, oh, it was a Paratici signing, it was a Land signing. No, this was Levy giving his new manager what he wanted. And I'll be honest with you, I called him Brenda Johnson, and I got a lot of stick for it because I didn't think he had what it takes. He doesn't have that bite. He looks like the guy, we discussed it just before, that goes out with his mum on a Sunday and holds her hand, walking down the street still. Listen, he seems like a lovely guy, really great. I want my players to have some bite and some tenacity.
I don't want lovely guys at my football club.
No, that's what I'm
be
saying.
An arsehole.
I want bite and tenacity. It got so bad that I actually took a video clip of him making a tackle against Liverpool and posted it as, look at this. Brendan, look, nothing would give me greater pleasure for Brendan Johnson to go and score 25 goals and make me eat my words, right? Honestly, no one can I'm not knocking his goals because those goals have helped us, but they've not been worldies. They've not been like beating his man. We needed two wingers for handball who can get to the byline, take on their men, beat their men, and get the ball in the box. I don't believe that either of them are capable of doing that. And Brennan Johnson certainly isn't. Yes, he has done it, but on a rare occasion. What we saw today with two crosses in that first half were a better representation of what Brennan Johnson offers us, even against shit opposition.
Can I ask? I really want to know. I mean, when we're saying Ange needs two wingers that get to the byline, they beat a man. Do we all believe that? And I'm not saying you're wrong, Johnny. I truly believe that as well. But it just seems that whenever we get the ball out wide, it doesn't matter whether it's Mikey Moore, Timo Werner, Brennan Johnson, Kulusevski, whoever's out wide, it just seems like their default is get the ball, take a touch, come inside, lay it off 5 yards. Now, Mikey Moore did that all first half. And then the best moment of the game, I think, in the 90 was the one occasion where Mikey Moore skinned two players, dinked it in, and Timo Werner it wasn't the easiest header, but Timo Werner had a header.
It was a decent header.
It was decent. Yeah, it was decent. I mean, it was tough, but is this guy, so the question I'm asking, is this a tactic for our wide men that Ange is saying, guys, don't beat your men? Or is this by default because our players can't beat a man anymore?
We don't have a Perisic. Just Dan, just 1 second, right? Because I was going about Porro here, right? Porro's the only player in this squad, and I've gone on about this so many times. I'd love to see Porro play as a right winger with Spence behind him. And I'll tell you why. It's because he's the only player that I've seen since Perisic that doesn't need to beat his man to whip a ball into the box. And the only time that Solanke has scored this season was a whipped-in ball from Pedro Porro, whipped into the box. That's where we need to be aiming, right? Whipping those balls into the box. We're poor at it. Sorry, Dan. Go ahead, mate. Sorry.
Oh, I lost my train of thought now.
Sorry, mate.
It's all right. Yeah, you know, the crosses. Yeah, they're aimless, aren't they? There's no quality with the crosses either side. I just don't. You know, you have to question. You have to, when you think about it and you start looking at it all, you have to question the manager as well, don't you? Really do. How he set up the team today. No centre forward. We needed a centre forward today. They did cross the ball in. I did see crosses, but they were just, it's all going back down to that low block. Yeah, we struggle. It's that low block. It's such a massive issue, right? And I know I just said it, but it's just, we just struggle so much to break down teams who just sit in and defend well. I just don't know, guys. One thing as well about Pedro Porro. Do you know he lost the possession 45 times today?
It doesn't surprise me.
45 times.
Can I
that level of player? 45.
Wow.
Can I say about Brennan Johnson? Right. But Brennan Johnson at Forest played more as a forward. He was actually okay, right? He wasn't awful because he would just run in one direction towards the goal with another striker, and there was space to attack. What we've done is we've put him as an inside forward on the wing. So he's a hybrid winger stroke striker, which means his game now is different. He's attacking the goal from a different angle, and that angle means you need to beat a man and you need to be able to cross the balls in, whereas before he'd be on the end of balls. Now he's crossing them in at Spurs. Look, him and Werner, they literally smashed the ball into the box knee height, hoping something hits, right? It's wild. When we're on the counter-attack and you can see we've got the overload, he's actually not too bad because no one's tackling him. We've outnumbered the opposition so that no one can come across and block him. He can cut in and put a half-decent cross in. So he shows moments of he can offer us something. He's very, very good at getting in the box at the right time, normally back post to poke the ball home from 6 yards, 2 yards. That's it, though. That is all he offers us as a winger. He can't take on a man. He often fails to give support to the wing back, and then the wing back gets caught out when they've pushed up high. His overall crossing isn't good. His range of shooting and his range of goals, it's almost non-existent. Other than that really good goal he scored against Brentford, where he beat a man, dropped his shoulder, and then drilled it across the goal, the face of the body of the goalkeeper into the opposite corner. Other than that, most of his goals are close-range pokes, tap-ins, fumbles in. So, you know, I always go back to a front three that always excited me. Firmino, Mane, Salah. All of them were quality. More so Mane and Salah. And Firmino was the player that dropped back in the middle and fed them two in as they came in. We play it differently. We play it the same. We try and feed Solanke in, but Solanke ends up dropping, which is when you need the wide players to attack in. But we don't have Salah and Firmino. We've got Johnson, who will never be that level. He will never, ever, ever be the level of Mane and Salah. And then we've got Werner, who is one of the worst signings we've ever made twice. He's just a shocking football player. His days were 5-6 years ago. He had a twilight period. It's over. So I think we massively need to fix the front two wide areas. And I also feel that we need a better striker at the club than Solanke. I know we're not going to get Harry Kane again. That was a generational academy player. But we did sign Berbatovs and Sheringham's and Defoe's and Robbie Keane's. We need to find a player of that level that can score different types of goals.
I get what you're saying in terms of we need a striker better than Solanke. I 100% agree. But I think, again, it can't. If you look at other teams in the league, they don't have the best striker, but their wingers have output. Their wingers bring something to the front line. They create opportunities. If imagine you're Dom Solanke, right, and you're playing with Werner and Johnson's getting the ball and he's spanking it off the left back, flying it out for a corner. Every time the wingers get the ball, spanking it off the defender. Oh, I'm going to show inside, drop back. it gets a bit annoying. So it's like, all right, cool, I want the ball now. And this is something that we saw with Harry Kane a lot, where it's like, okay, I want the ball, so now I'm going to go to the ball. Now I'm going to try and go and get involved. And this is why, boys, I don't know if any of you noticed, but there's a lot of games where our midfield just looks clustered. It just looks pinball. Like, it just looks like so all
too many
over
bodies.
because you've got both fullbacks inverting. The wingers don't want to hug the touchline. They want to cut in. Dom Solanke's dropping in to try and pick up the ball. Then you've got Maddison and the 8 trying to... It doesn't work. And then this is how we get left exposed. So for me, as much as we can sit here and say, yeah, we definitely do need a striker that is of a higher quality than Dom Solanke. Of course, boys, we've seen some top strikers at our football club.
Jay, can I just add to that point really, really quickly? By the way, there's nearly 800 of you in here and only 200 likes, which is absolutely shocking. Worse than Spurs display today. And please, if you'd be so kind, subscribe to all of my guests. And I am only 7 subscribers away from 15.5K. So if you would subscribe, that'd be amazing. Subscribe to everyone else here. And for anyone that does like Spanish football, in the Spanish Super Cup final, Barcelona are giving Real Madrid a pasting right now. They are 5-1 up. Barcelona are beating them 5-1. Anyway, Jay, I want to counter that. And I want to know what the other guys think as well.
Can I counter Jay as well after you, Savva? I want to say something.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I just listen. I agree with him and want to add something extra. I agree with you. If you are Solanke, I'm looking at my wide men, but you've got to remember that Johnson and Werner don't play every week on the wing. So even when we have Kulu out there and Son out on the left, we're still not creating. We're still not getting crosses into him, balls into him. Udogie never seems to whip in a ball for him, and that's exactly what I used to watch him do for Udinese. Was get down the byline, whip balls in. Same with Porro. So and then I'm told, but it's not the tactics. My problem with Solanke is this: when he came on today, right? Bearing in mind he's playing against Tamworth. First and foremost, that's an England international striker. He should stand out head and shoulders above those centre halves. For me, he can't hold a ball up. I've had this conversation with people all year. I think his hold-up play, forget his finishing, I think his hold-up play, everything bounces off him back to the opposition. So I just wonder what people thought about that. Am I being harsh? Is Solanke good enough?
You're not being harsh, Savva. I agree in terms of that there's definitely qualities in his game that he can improve on. That's a given with any player in the squad. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and deny that. And I do think if we can upgrade on Solanke, he's a better bench option than Richarlison, because we've seen that he does know how to put the ball in the back of the net.
Agree with
that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
I do think, we do go out there. But I just think at the point that we're in now, it's almost like, look, Son looks a shell of the player that he was, man. Son is finished, guys. I don't want to be the one to say it, but Son is done. If we can get 50 to 70 million for him in the summer, which probably won't happen, cash in on him.
I'd take 5 to 7 million, Jay. I'm at the stage where I don't think he's worth 10 million. He looks horrendous. Horrendous. Sorry, I'll let you guys go.
Listen, Savva, there's clubs that will pay 20, 30 million only because the marketing money they'll get back on his name. But for quality of player, I get your point. What I wanted to say to Jay regarding Solanke, right? And I'm just going to go off the facts. Mohamed Salah, Haaland, Palmer, Isak and Mbeumo, Chris Woods, Cunha, Wissa, Nicholas Jackson, James Maddison, Watkins, Diaz, Jimenez, Delap at Ipswich, who are in a relegation fight, have all scored more league goals this season. The fact Maddison's ahead of Solanke, Maddison hardly plays for us. Like, that to me sums up what we've got. And here's the most scariest thing about Dominic Solanke. Do you know who he's on equal goals scored as in the Premier League right now?
Don't say Werner. Please don't say Werner.
Johnson.
Brennan Johnson, and the guy that those wank stains down the road are now losing their minds over. Kai Havertz.
What Havertz?
They're literally Arteta out, and Kai Havertz is 50% of what's causing Arteta out, okay? Solanke's on, that's the level of striker we've got at the club. I agree he doesn't get the service, but I also look at him and I think, how many times do you lose possession of the ball for us? Which, if you kept that possession and you got a 1-2 or a wall pass out of it, it could feed you in to then go and score. Yeah. Listen. The bit I agree with Jay is this, and you know, we've all got our views on it. If we could have someone to bring off the bench as a striker, I would really like Solanke.
Yeah,
I would like Solanke, but as our main guy, never in a million years. Our club is used to such great goal scorers. This is a massive downgrade. And I'm going back the last 25, 30, 40 years. We've always had a good player up front. We don't have it anymore. So I would sell Richarlison, put Solanke on the bench with Lancashire, and we need to bring in someone that is quality. Because the one thing I will say about Angeball, right? We do create a fair bit. We do get a lot of shots away. Imagine we had Kane or Berbatov now. I think things could be a little bit different. But if Solanke's the future with Ange, I don't see it. I don't get it.
I think he gets lost in the flow of the game as well. I don't know if you boys will agree with me, but I think he kind of gets lost in the pace of the game. Like, it's almost like sometimes the game's moving.
Half our players get lost in the game, Jay. Half the players get lost.
Yeah, I agree. And boys, I am gonna shoot. I've got to go pick up little man.
Take it easy, mate.
Boys,
you take care, mate. Thank you for coming
all of you. Hopefully, we can do this again, man. I had fun.
Take care.
Take care, dude. See you later, mate.
Johnny, I think you're on mute. Johnny, I think you're on mute.
Have a good night, boys.
Good night.
I don't think with a better striker, you'll see much better out of us, because whatever striker we put up there, unless it's someone like Kane who can actually feed himself, they're not going to get the service. The only way, again, Solanke, very average player. He's had one good season in his entire career, basically. I mean, he showed when he was at Liverpool, he played like 20 games and scored a goal. But again, we're at that point, I feel, with certain players, play them in their right way, their right position, and play them to what they're best at doing, you will see a significant increase in what they're doing. You will see a better player out of it. Now, I'm not saying he'll be special, but I still think he can put in 15, 20 goals if he's got the service. Now, he's also proved that he's strong in the air. But have we got anyone who can cross that ball come love nor money? Yes. Porro. But where he is, it plays the wrong way for him to do it. He should either be overlapping, like I've said for a long time now, because I see a Gareth Bale type player in him. Obviously nowhere near as good, but someone who can charge up there, got a good cross, good enough pass, can even shoot himself. I'd even say stick Porro, what I've said for a year now, stick him on the right-hand side and just get him to keep banging those crosses across. Then you can have your attacking midfield coming forward. You've got your striker there, and then you can also have who's ever on the left, whether it be Son, Werner, whoever's there, cutting into the box as well. We need someone who can cross that ball in and give some service. We haven't got no one who can do that. And the closest Dan, we got up there... Go on.
Hang on, sorry, Dad, just quickly though, but what about that list that Stell just read out? Right, he read out, I don't know how many players were there. Are we saying that every single one of those forwards... Right? Are we saying every single one of those forwards gets more service than Dominic Solanke week in, week out, playing for... I mean, Liam Delap plays for Ipswich Town. How much creative are we saying that he gets from there?
But if they're getting the passes to him, then he's getting the service, isn't he?
Well,
I mean, what passes does our striker actually get? He really don't get that much service. Not at all. Especially on his strong points.
Though, I think there's a lot of times when the ball does actually get to Solanke in the box, I don't think he's good enough to maneuver the ball to get himself shooting opportunities. If you remember somebody like a Jermaine Defoe, if you put the ball, and listen, I mean, you can pick your poison of top strikers that we've all seen in the last 25 years. Someone like a Jermaine Defoe, you put that ball into his feet, his game was built around, right, I need to shuffle that out of my feet and I'm going to get a shot away. So many times it goes into Solanke, right? Now, it might not be a cross, but it might be a through ball, or it might be a pass, a diagonal pass. And his first touch is poor. He loses the ball. It's nicked off him. So I don't think it's all that he never gets any creation. Maddison finds him a lot with these through balls. And he just doesn't seem to me to have that striker's instinct of... Does that make sense, guys? You know, that whole kind of shuffle it out your feet.
I get where you're coming from. I think he's more of a target man sort of player.
Sure.
That's how he comes across on there. To me, he's not an out-and-out goal scorer. I just believe you will get more out of him if you actually get some proper service in the box, not getting it passed to him when he's standing at the halfway line with the others or when he's standing outside the box. I know you want your striker to be able to be, how should I say, more complete, but he's not, and we know that. So play him to what he's good at.
Well,
I personally think Stell said it perfectly at the start of the season. Use him as the target man, then you've got the option of people you can put next to him.
When he played at Bournemouth, guys, right, it's no coincidence that Iriola told him, stop dropping deep, stop going here, there and everywhere. I want you to play off the last man, work the two defenders. That is your job. Exactly the same as Emery did with Ollie Watkins when Ollie Watkins was going here, there and everywhere across that line. I want you to stop doing that. I want you to work the two defenders, right? Start banging in the goals. It's no coincidence that that's what was happening with Dom Solanke. Dom Solanke wasn't asked to drop deep, wasn't meant to drop deep. He was getting balls in. Look how many goals he scored with his head for Bournemouth. And look how many he scored now. One through Porro last week. You see a guy who's dropping deep, who thinks he's prime Harry Kane. The only difference is he can't spray a ball 25 yards, right, to the other side of the pitch. And why have you signed a player, Ange? Why have you signed a player when you're not playing to anywhere near his strength? It's absolutely
Hang on, Johnny. Hang on, Johnny. In the summer, I must have watched about 50 videos from people why Solanke is perfect for Ange Ball. Spurs will be scary with Solanke.
If you play him the same way he was playing at Bournemouth.
Johnny, I get that, but we don't play that way. And everyone was going, he's perfect for Ange Ball. I think the problem with Solanke is, I think he's a good striker. He's all right. He's a good striker.
His arse off. Well, you can't commit. You cannot comment. You can't run him down on his work rate or commitment.
No.
But we need more for 65
million.
Correct.
I want him to come on in games like today. I want him to hold the ball up as a bare minimum. Every time the ball went into him, they were on him like a flash. He couldn't control it. He couldn't hold it up.
Can I say with this thing, we should play Solanke to his strengths. We knew that we didn't play like Bournemouth when we signed him, so we shouldn't have signed him then, right? Because we're not going to change.
That's what I'm saying. Stab.
Yeah.
Estelle, sorry.
Stab.
So, do you know, people come up to me in the stadium like, "Oh, Savva, how you doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm Estelle." You know, what I was going to say is, see, the striker that I want doesn't have to be a big name. It just needs to be someone that can score regardless of the system. Like if you look at Defoe and Kane, two different players. Kane for me is far better than Defoe. But what both of them did was that no matter which manager, which club, which system, which tactic, how they were asked to play, they always got goals.
Yeah.
And this is what makes them so good. I want a striker, regardless of system, formation, tactic, can adapt his game and still get goals. This is why players like Berbatov were brilliant. Players like Teddy Sheringham were brilliant. Whether it was at Nottingham Forest, at Spurs, at United, for England, Teddy found a way. And I just feel what we've done is we've signed two strikers for 130 million, right? Richarlison and Solanke, that are so one-dimensional. If we don't change the whole club to suit them, we've got an average player. And I don't understand between Lange, Levy, and Ange, what have you done? Like, what have you done between yourselves? And then fans say to me, "Oh, you're negative. Just back the team." No. I need to be given something in order for me to back it. Show me something more than what I'm seeing. And what I see is sometimes, not bad. Sometimes really good. Sometimes awful. Sometimes this makes no sense. There's just no consistency every week, every tactic, every team selection. There is no consistency at this club. And Solanke epitomizes that. He is Mr. Inconsistent.
He's more Solanke than Solanke at the moment, I'm afraid.
It's like when people say to you that you have to respect somebody. No, sorry, I haven't got to respect anyone or anything. You want me to respect, give me something to respect. Up until then, I will show common courtesy. It's the same as that. You want me to be positive about this club, this team. Give me something to be positive about. Well, until then, I'm sorry, I won't do it blindfolded.
Can I have my say on him, Solanke?
Yeah, man, go for it.
That's not true, by the way. That last comment isn't true. We signed Van der Ven. I never heard of Van der Ven. I've said I'll wait and see what he's like, and he turned out to be good. And I've said, yeah, I like him. So that comment there, you're looking, you're trying to poke, and it doesn't.
It must be true. Someone on YouTube said it, so it's true. I believe them. Go on, Dan.
Yeah, well, I'm a bit similar to what Dan says. I'd like him to be playing with two better wingers. Yeah, and I want Solanke to be more in the box, and then I would like to judge him. Yeah, because he's in a failing attacking system right now. And I think it's a little bit harsh on him. You know, I know he's not the best striker in the world, but I think we could get more from him. And I'd like to see that before I kind of give my true opinion on him.
I mean,
but you're not going to get that with Ange. Ange won't change the way we play.
Ange won't be here much longer, Stel. He'll be gone soon.
I don't know. I think our fans love him. I think
we've been saying that for months. I've been saying that.
I know the January. We're waiting for the transfer window to end, but come February, he's not going to be here much longer.
But the thing is, we
don't know.
We keep saying this.
I can't see this.
He's surviving bad result after bad result after bad result. Just quickly, do you guys know? I'll play this game with everyone in the chat as well, even though a couple of people have unsubbed, which is a bit harsh, guys. A bit harsh. In the last 16 Tottenham games, do you know how many we've won? By the way, you know today doesn't count as a win because it wasn't in 90 minutes. In 90 minutes, do you know how many games we've won in our last 16?
Got to be about what, 6?
Yeah, but we won the match though. We did win the match today.
Yeah, I know. But in terms of betting odds in winning, like they wouldn't have paid out on the win. How many games we've won in 16?
All right, I don't know. So I don't bet.
It's probably less than 6, isn't it?
4? I think it's 4.
So this is why, Savva.
Wolves, Liverpool, Man United.
Time's running out. Time is running out.
4.
But Dan, he's won 4.
Yeah.
He's beat Man City, Man United, Liverpool, and Southampton. Right? In that 16 games, that means we've won 2 league games, which is against the current champions and the team that are actually already probably relegated with about, I don't know what they got, 5 points. This manager seems to be surviving, Dan.
Only because of the cups. Because of the cups, Savva. Yeah?
I hear
we'll be gone out of the Carabao Cup come beginning of Feb. We're not beating Villa away in the FA Cup. So we're out of those 2. And then it's all there is the Europa League. And if you look at the Premier League fixtures, we're hardly winning any of them. He'll be gone he can't keep losing. We're going to be so near that relegation zone that it will have to sack him.
But Dan,
I agree.
This is my point. We've been saying this. I agree. I agree with you.
It's
For me,
cups, that's why he's still here. The cups, because he's still in the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup.
I agree with you, though. I do agree with you, Dan. But the problem is, we've been saying this guy's just had 15 months of diabolical form. Right? Whichever way people carve it up, I'm always told that I cherry pick stats. I don't cherry pick the stats aren't mine. The 15 months of form shows how bad this manager has done, right? Whichever way we break it up. I keep hearing, if he loses this, he'll gone. If he loses this, he'll be gone. If he loses this, then we win one game and people go, oh, see, Ange, Ball, give it time. You guys are in the mud. I just don't know how much longer we have to watch performances like that. That wasn't new today, guys. No. That was a whole new level of crap because it was Tamworth. That's how we played against Fulham. That's how we played against Bournemouth. That's how we played against Nottingham Forest. That's how we played against Chelsea after the first 20 minutes. That's how we played against Liverpool at home when we lost 6-3. We are playing like this most weeks where there's no real flow. And every game, you watch every game, you look at chat comments, videos that are being made, the excuses are, take your pick. It's excuses bingo. Today's excuse, it was a fake pitch. Today's excuse, injuries. Today's excuse, players are tired. It's been 15 months and these games are getting more and more regular, but still I've never seen a manager backed this much. No. So I don't think he is going anytime soon, Dan. And that breaks my heart because I think he's taken the club that I love so far backwards. It's unreal. Just my opinion.
I still think if things don't go right in the next couple of games, I'm going to stick by what I've said for a good few months now, is if he is going to go anywhere, it will be February onwards. and that is only so Levy don't have to spend a shitload of money in the transfer window, because then he's got that excuse to turn around and say, well, I could only spend a little bit of money because I had lost my faith in Ange, but I wanted to keep him that bit longer because I know you fans wanted him, but it just obviously isn't working. And then Ange has also given Levy everything else that he can basically step out of this quite happy and say that he give him a chance. And yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere soon, but after February is when it's more likely to happen.
Savva,
in my opinion.
I want to add something to the Solanke thing, because there's people in the comments saying, oh, but he's got 27 goals and assists this season. That's really good. See, when we use stats, it's great, but you've got to apply the context to it. And what most people fail to do is apply the context. That alone as a stat, just throwing it out there, is completely flawed as an argument, because the context behind it is, what games is he getting those goals in? And what you'll find is 40% of those goals and assists are in the Premier League. The rest are in which competitions? Well, in the Carabao Cup, he's only scored against Liverpool. So where are the rest of the goals coming? Where are 55% of the goals and assists coming from? The Europa Cup, Karabag, Ferencváros, and all this rubbish we've played in Europe. And today, Tamworth. So 55% of his goals and assists are coming against opposition that is low standard. If you actually look, this is why I always think when we look at strikers, let's look at what they do in the Premier League and the Champions League if they're in it, because they're top competitions where you're up against teams that are going to be difficult regardless. And in the Premier League, he's average. He's not even top 15 goal scorers. And still, in the Champions League, I can't gauge him because we're not in it. So I'm only going by the Premier League because for me, that's a barometer of what level you're actually at as a player. If your standards are high for a player, if your standards are down here, then you'll just look at any stat and just pluck it and say, right, there we go. Look, it looks pretty. So for me,
didn't we do this still for last year? In the summer, didn't we break down Solanke's goals for Bournemouth last year? And it was all very, very similar, where if you actually looked who he was scoring,
it was mostly against bottom 10 opposition in the Premier League.
Right.
It was right. And the same person had those stats were, I think, Johnson, Richarlison, Verne. They all had similar kind of.
I think he's all right. I think he's okay. I just got to say, I've said
I don't think he's rubbish.
I've said this his whole career. I think he's an all right striker who's got an average touch. He's average at holding the ball up. And then every now and then, he does, like against Liverpool the other night, when he bullied Konate and laid it back, great. But then there's other games where he can't hold up a ball for toffee, like Newcastle, where his bad touch led to a goal, us conceding a goal. You know, and for me, as I said, he's a sometimes player. He's another one where I don't think we've done our homework. I don't think we have at all. I think we've seen a bloke who's had a relatively good year, his first good year in his career, and we've gone, we'll have him. And for me, I don't know, he's okay. He's all right. I don't mind him, but I just don't think that you're ever going anywhere with that. And sorry if that's harsh. But
Solanke aligns with our team, average.
But who was excited? Were you really excited? You know, an exciting signing is spend another 10 million, show some ambition, and sign Gyökeres, right? Who's got plenty about him. He's got more in his tank. He's younger and he's more creative. And he's an out-and-out goal scorer, right? That's what we need. An out-and-out goal scorer. I don't need a guy who works hard, drops deep, works hard, drops deep. I want a guy who's creating havoc, right? That's what I want. I mean, you can say whatever you want about Richarlison, but when he comes on and plays up front, he's knocking people 7 bells out of people and creating space by the people he's taking
more
out.
Reliable than Richarlison.
I'm
more reliable than him.
I'm talking about when he's fit. I'm talking about who gets bullied. You don't see Richarlison get bullied in the game, right, when he's fit.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
I don't believe.
No, what I think the way you're saying it is when Richarlison comes on, he's a nightmare.
Correct.
He's not exactly physical, because I see him get pushed all over the place and sitting on his ass. But that can be annoying for the other team as well. He's very good at distracting,
space, right? He creates space.
Very good at distracting. Very good at being just one of those players you don't want to play against because he's just a pain in the arse, basically, not because he's quality. So, yeah, I agree with what you're saying in that aspect. But physical-wise, he gets knocked all over the place. But I get where you're coming from.
Have you guys seen their stats? If you actually put their career stats aside,
they're identical.
They're identical. Everyone who keeps saying he shits all over Richarlison. When you look at nearly every metric for these two players, they're literally identical. Some of them, Richarlison actually has a lot better than Solanke. Solanke's got a few things better, but nearly everything is identical, guys. So I don't know whether this is because, this is shiny and new, but this is why in the summer when someone said Solanke, I went, haven't we learned from Richarlison? I think he's all right. He's all right.
Savva,
do you know what he's the next level?
What he's 100% better than Richarlison at is the pressing game. We play a high intensive pressing game when we're on it, and Solanke is one of the best players in our team at doing it. And when we do it right, he instigates a lot of the chaos we cause that turns the ball over for us to have possession high up the field, and that is quite an important component. So from that aspect, he's a good signing. There's no doubt about it. But if we've signed him purely on the basis of pressing, then just sign someone for 20 quid that's really fast and strong that can do that, not someone that's 65 million pounds.
Meanwhile, Troy Parrott, who Ange said was not good enough, is banging in the goals non-stop. and I'm laughing now because I see on the press linked to Juventus, AC Milan and top Premier League clubs. I mean, I'm sorry, like Ange, the talent scout, Spence no good, this one no good. This one's not ready, can't rotate. This guy is not embracing youth and his eye for talent, in my opinion, anyway, he's not good enough.
Adrian Soka loves Parrott, doesn't he? Adrian Soka.
I want to move it on from Solanke. I want to talk about a few other players if I can. First of all, I want to get a positive in there. I thought the Basuma again. I thought for me, Basuma against Liverpool on Wednesday. I thought today again. Definitely the first half. Maddison and Basuma for me were the only two that came out of that first half with any credit. Everything we did that was good came through Maddison. He was the only one getting into dangerous areas, getting shots on goal. He was the one pulling the strings. He was creating. And Basuma, I thought, held the midfield together, if I'm brutally honest, because I thought Sarr was absolutely dreadful again. So I want to give a few props. I know lots of people have used him as a scapegoat a lot. Both of these two, actually, Maddison and Basuma. I actually thought those two were the only two that really stood up and looked like they actually had Premier League quality today. Feel free to disregard what I've said, but anyone want to expand on that?
I can agree with what you're saying. Again, it comes down to the point of just playing the players the wrong way, basically, not playing them to what they're best at. And Maddison is not best in a 10 position with two players 6 foot either side, like behind him, on the sides of him, and in front of him. Mm-hmm. He's a playmaker. He needs space. He needs option of where to pass that ball, not 6 foot distance. And when you block up a playmaker who needs his space, what's he meant to do? He then comes back to the halfway line to try and get some space, or doing as he's told. We're not sure. And then what can he do from the halfway line?
He ain't going to get that space, Dan. The reason why he excelled today is because they gave him a ridiculous amount of space in the middle of the park. He's not getting that space any day of the week.
Exactly. Where we invert all the time, it totally takes away any space he could have.
That's not true, Johnny.
The breathing space.
I don't believe if you crowd him out, if we invert, right? If we invert and the opposition crowds out the middle of the park, on top of that, there isn't much room for him to operate. That's my personal opinion.
In Ange's system, right? Not just not in general.
No, not in general. No, I'm talking about Ange's system.
Right. Yeah. Oh, right. Okay, we agree. Because what I saw from him at Leicester when he was putting up 20 goal contributions a season was he was actually allowed to be a playmaker.
You know what they call him at Leicester?
Go on.
The third. A third good, a third injured, and a third shit, right?
Yeah.
When we don't use the inverted, we look more solid at the back. But you can also see Maddison have a better game when we're not playing inverted because he's got space. He's got breathing space. He can pass it somewhere. overall, if Ange would just stop using this inverted wing-back crap that I've been going on about since he's been here, I think it's 25% of his problem sorted if he would just stop inverting them or just do one at a time. And I think that's a lump of his problem sorted. But
Dan, today, Maddison, again, only my opinion, I thought him and Basuma were the only two that come away from the first. If we're going to talk about the first 11, for me, they were the only two that come away with any credit. Maddison in that first half, yeah, he didn't get his shooting right, but was the only one that was trying to play forward passes. He was the only one saying, you know what, let me drive with the ball and get a shot away. Everyone else goes, pass, stop, 5 yards backwards, pass. Like Gray and Dragoshin see so much of the ball because we don't stop playing backwards. But Maddison, for me, was the one that was, hey, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and get on the ball. You could see him visibly today when he got the ball. He's looking around, going, "You go there." Like he's pointing at people, telling them, "Go there. I don't want you here.
Savva,
I don't want you next to me. Go there."
Do you
thought he was good today.
Do you think, and everyone on the panel, big up Alex as well for joining. Do you guys think, as fans, we're getting caught up in a bit of a Poch virus? What I mean by that is, do you think that we as fans, not just on this show, but the club as a whole, do you think we compare every signing we make to the best player we had in that position under Poch? So if Maddison isn't doing what Ericsson does, we've got a problem. If Solanke doesn't do what Kane does, we've got a problem. If Johnson can't do what Dele Alli did, we've got a problem. If Basuma doesn't do what Wanyama did, we've got a problem. Do you think there's a bit of that? Because we think that those players we had under Poch were so good, we felt we could win a league with them. Not that we did, but we felt we could. That now, when we see players in the same position that Andrew's signing who aren't of that ilk, we feel, well, what's the point? If you can't match that team, how are we going to win a league rather than trying to believe in what they're building here? Do you think there's a bit of that going on?
I just don't see anything with this manager anymore. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I don't really understand the whole thing of the praise for the players. I'm sorry. This is what is it? This is a non-league team. I mean, I was only watching the game because my brother was talking to me on the phone saying, "Oh, we're looking like we're struggling." I was like, "Are you having a laugh? You actually having a laugh?" And I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is just not good enough anymore for me. And that's why on Wednesday, when people were telling me, after Liverpool winning, people were telling me, smile, just be happy. I said, no, I can't be happy because I'm not. I know what's coming. I know what's coming. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Maddison. Yeah, Maddison.
Alex, what are you comparing it to though to feel that way? Like, are you comparing it to Poch's team? That's my question.
I'm just frustrated at the moment. I'm not even comparing it to them anymore. I just think at the moment.
No, but Alex, what Stel's asking though is part of how we're judging these players. Is it because we're judging them against maybe Poch's team or Harry Redknapp's team where he had a Van der Vaart in that 10 role? And is that part of our issue as fans that the caliber we've signed isn't as good as what we've had before? That's what I think Stel's asking.
I mean, I don't know if it's really, I can compare it to the caliber of the players anymore for me, because we're not going to get the caliber of players that we need for me. I think it's more to do with how he's managing these players at the moment and how he's coaching these players for me at the moment, because you just don't, even it's about grinding out results. It's about grinding out results now for me, because only reason why we won this game today is because the non-league team ran out of steam, because that's what the Premier League team, that's what a Premier League overrides them, because they've got the energy and the strength. So it's not even that. I'd love to. Yes, I could say probably I would be compare it to the teams that we've seen before. Maybe, yeah, we've seen better players in the past before. Yes, I maybe am doing that. But my concern is at the moment is that even at your pride as a Premier League player, you know what I mean? You should be able to say, sorry, you're non-league. We should be better than you. You know what I mean? It's just. I'm sorry. There is really huge concerns to me, right? Especially in the league, because now it's not about even getting into Europe now for me. It's about getting points, and I don't see it anymore. I don't see it. I see teams getting relegated for these sort of things, you know. You know, and I'm not even saying we're relegation candidates, but it's like saying, come on now, we've got to do something here.
We're going to be in the
Am
fight.
I wrong? Am I
Alex,
wrong?
No, you're not, Alex. Have you ever known a manager deliver so little and you get praised so much?
That's what I'm saying.
And have you ever, when I think about the managers, the great managers that have gone before him, that have got a fraction of the support, both from the management and the fans, I'm absolutely bamboozled with
Johnny, treasure this moment for the rest of your life. I'm actually agreeing with you. Don't get used to it. Don't get used to it, yeah? Because me and you have been back and forth for the last year or so, and I've still got you. I've got you over what you said about the class of '92 last year, yeah? Because you said this last year to me, and look who's wrong there. You know what I mean? But it's funny that we're not agreeing with each other.
Hang on, we're agreeing with each other until they don't deliver.
Well, but it's because of this manager. And the thing is, though, I'm sorry, I've got to bring it onto something else because I'm fuming.
You think Poch would love it? Can I ask you, Alex, just quickly? Pochettino, whatever you may think of Pochettino, right? If you gave him these kids,
yes,
he'd be lapping it up.
Yes.
He'd be licking. He'd be. Yes. Oh my God.
Yes, but listen. The thing that's really fuming me at the moment, yeah, that I was so close to doing something on Mr. Box Office TV, yeah. The guy, Mikey Moore, yes, he's young. He was getting into the second half, yeah. He was getting into the game. What does he do? He beats him off. He beats him off and keeps bloody Timo Werner on. What the hell's going on there? What's going on?
Devil's advocate, Alex. Could it be with Mikey Moore though? That listen, I agree, but could it be that it was his first game for a long time? And I'm going to say, I don't think Mikey Moore actually did well today. I thought Mikey Moore had one good run where he skinned his players. Other than that, I felt he looked very much like a player that's not played football for a while. But again, guys, with the Mikey Moore thing, I'll say what I'll say about every young player. Yeah. Again, let's stop putting this kid on this, not you, Alex, but let's stop putting this kid on this massive pedestal before he's actually done anything in a Spurs shirt. I keep seeing people going, he's our best winger and he does this. Today, I thought he was pretty, I don't know. I just thought other than that run, I thought he was pretty poor. But I agree. I want to talk about that, Alex. I want to talk about Johnny's point there. We keep going on about how bad this squad is. If you had a coach like Pochettino managing these players, do we truly believe that we wouldn't have seen more of Jed Spence being developed? Do we truly believe that we wouldn't have seen Archie Gray in central midfield, more of Bergvall? Lancashire. Do we truly believe that? Because for me, you can't on one hand start talking about, oh my God, look at all the injuries. Oh my God, we never rotate. And then on the other hand, Pedro Porro is playing yet again when Jed Spence, who's not played a lot of football this year, is sitting on the bench and he's coming off the back of a man of the match performance against Liverpool.
Well,
he dropped
with that.
Bergvall and Gray should both have been starting today after having very good games against Liverpool. Yeah. But both of them are on the bench while Porro is flogged like a dead horse. I just don't get it, guys. I don't understand the manager one bit.
Last bit I say, because I've got to jump off. With what you said with Mikey Moore, I agree. He looks a bit sandy today, if that's how you want to put it. A bit rusty. You could tell he hadn't played a few games.
Yeah.
Whereas with Spence, what actually did impress me a bit a couple of games ago is when he came on and you blatantly knew that he had not played for God knows how long and he looked fluid. He didn't look rusty. He didn't look sandy. He hit the floor running, basically. I know that don't happen very often, but yeah, I agree. Mikey Moore, you could see he hasn't played much. He just looked a bit rusty.
He looked better than Timo Werner, though.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying he looks bad, but you can see most of the time when a player hasn't been playing consistently.
Yeah, but the point I'm making is that he taking off Mikey Moore, didn't even put on Lancashire, Lancashire. And this is where I have my issue at the moment, is that he could have put on Lancashire. He puts on bloody Solanke to even more tire him out even more. You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't see the logic of this manager anymore for me.
I agree with what you're saying. I was just saying I thought Mikey Moore looked a bit rusty today as well. You could tell he hadn't played.
You could tell
with Mikey Moore, he's an academy player, right? when you make the jump from academy to men's football, there's a process you have to go through. And what often happens, not always, what often happens is a kid gets a chance and they do something, you think, freaking hell, what was that? Wow. And I think Mikey Moore came on in a European game, and for 20 minutes, he was dribbling past 2-3 players every time. And we were like, fucking hell, wow. Right? That is typical of an academy player blossoming in an environment. But then what often happens is the next 2-3 games, it's not quite the same. Like, we went away to Palace. He started, didn't really look that good. Today came on, bit rusty. But then in 2-3 games' time, he'll show us that dribbling skill again, and we're like, "That's the Mikey Moore we know." Then there'll be another.
He hasn't played
game.
But still,
he hasn't played consistently, has he?
Right, Dan, this is what I was about to say. Hold on, Alex. I just want to say that you saw it with Kobe Minu. He came and played for Man United. Like, wow, really, really good. Then there's a little dip. Then he bounced back again. Then he dipped. Then he went to the FA Cup final. Looked really good, and Man United won. So with academy players, they go through this 1-2 year kind of phase where it's up, down, up, down, up, down. The key, though, you must keep playing them. They must learn the men's game and use all that youth, skill, talent, everything they showcase to give them a chance in the men's game. And then ideally, around about 2021, that's when you expect them to blossom. That's kind of what happened with Saka. Kane didn't blossom until he was about 21, 22. That's the typical age. Now, it doesn't mean that's the case for everyone, because you get a Wayne Rooney, a freak. From day one, he was dynamite and stayed dynamite. But with a Mikey Moore, it's so important that we keep playing him. If he doesn't get the minutes, he will not evolve. And that goes for any academy player. And all the time with our academy players, they don't get the minutes. So you've got a talent, but you don't know if the talent's going to blossom into something really good. The only way you know is if you keep playing them, and then make a judgment 2 years down the line and say, right, are you for Spurs?
Or look at Noni. Look at Noni.
But I think that's any player. If you don't play any player consistently,
any youth player.
Any player, not just youth player. You play him inconsistently, you will definitely see it be rusty. But anyway, I've got to shoot. Cheers for having us on. And
take care, Dad. Happy
birthday, mate.
Cheers.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, boy. I just want to say this, though. I think he was getting into the game, though. I thought he was getting into the game in the second half. And I think he was getting, and I think they were getting worried about him as well. They were really getting worried about him. That's
he was a bit tired, Alex. He did look a little bit tired. I agree with you 100%. Yeah. But I think I just like Savva and what's them say. But listen, you know what's ironic? The players that he would never have played had it not been for injuries are the very players that are saving his bacon now. Gergbow, Gray, Spence, Region, right? None of these players would have seen the light of day, guys. Wake up, smell the coffee, right? None of them would have seen the light of day. And, all this, the youth, he's in for the youth. Let me tell you, that rant against Manchester City last year was nothing about anything to do with the fans. That was after the Everton game when he said that none of the youth are any good or good enough to play for the club. The club had a word with him. He didn't like what he was told. And then what happens? He goes on the tour at the middle of the Far East. And what does he do? Okay, I'll play the youth. I'll play Jamie Donnelly at left back when he's a 10. I won't play him in his real role. And then what does he do? It gives everyone the hope. Oh, look, he's playing the kids. And lo and behold, the season starts. And it's almost the entire team that ended last season, right? If you want to buy the book and buy the story, great. But I'm not buying it, right? This is by default, not by design. I don't think the changing tactics is by design, but by default as well.
It'd be by default, yeah, because he's even confirmed it already. He's already confirmed it already that he didn't. The tactics were down to the players because they were too tired. You see what I'm saying?
I think this is a brilliant point that you raised, Johnny, and this is always my thing when I'm debating people. Lots of people always come at me with the same things. It's we've got a small squad. Well, is it that we've got a small squad, or is it that Ange just doesn't know how to rotate his squad? Because Johnny, you've hit the nail on the head there. Forget what any of us think about them, right? Forget what any of us think about them. Dragoshin, Gray, Spence, Reggie, right? Bergvall, these guys have all come in. And for me, in most of the games we've seen recently, have been better than the first team players that are fit. Right? So when we're going, it's all the injured players. I don't think it's those players that have been the miss. I think it's been the more senior pros. I think it's been the Sons. I think it's been the Solankes, the Koglous, the Madisons, the Sars, the Bentancurs. They're the ones for me that I don't think are showing up. They're the ones for me that I don't think that are fighting for the cause. And the biggest example of all of this for me has got to be today, the Porro Jed Spence. That has got to be the biggest example of this manager.
Correct.
Everyone's saying when everyone's fit, he'll be able to rotate. He does not rotate. You're playing Tamworth away. They are 96 league places below us. Their team is full of part-time surveyors, milkmen, postmen, working retail shops, blah, 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 whatever their day jobs or their occupations are. And Jed Spence must be thinking, I'm going to play right back. I'm going to play my position. Nope. Porro's going to play there again. Then when Jed Spence does come on, where's he played? He's played at centre-half, right? Lancashire. So he's okay to start in Galatasaray in a Europa Cup game against the toughest team in our group.
In a fierce atmosphere that most kids couldn't handle.
Right. But then we go to Tamworth, who got slapped up, like Stell said, 7-0 by Barnet. Tamworth have won one of their last 7 games in the league, haven't kept a clean sheet for 10 in their league, right? And then we go there and we go, yeah, Lancashire isn't even deserving of 1 minute of football across 127 minutes in total being played. So when people tell me it's a youth project, be patient. I don't think you need to explain to me that it's a youth project. I think someone needs to tell the manager that this is apparently a youth project. I just think we're a mess all over. I think the whole thing is a mess. And in what the guy said earlier, what the analyst said earlier is bang on. This cup run, by the way, the cup run is beating Coventry just, Man U and Man City, right? This cup run of 3 games is keeping this manager in the job because everyone's going, oh, what a goal. That is by Napoli, if anyone's watching. And this manager is being kept in because of that cup run versus Liverpool.
Can I ask you still, just on that same topic, while we're on that topic, can someone tell me, are you happy? Tell me a great victory or a great result in the Europa League this season.
Not a lot. No one. No.
We've been rubbish in the Europa League.
Johnny, right. I said a couple of weeks ago, I asked a similar question. I said, other than Aston Villa at home, name a team, a good team that were in good form or were just, you know, a team you'd say, yeah, that's a really good side that we've beaten this year. But this was before we played Liverpool.
Yeah, but can I still, what I'm trying to ask you is, we got people saying, yeah, but we're going to win the Europa League. We could listen. AZ Alkmaar. We couldn't score against AZ Alkmaar at home. We had to live a penalty. Carrier bag, right? They were terrible, but we haven't played well. I mean, I was at Rangers. Unfortunately, we were lucky to get away with a draw. It was terrible.
Johnny, the only way I think we win the Europa League, right, with Ange,
everyone gives up, or what?
Yeah, if Europe goes to war and only English sides are left, yeah. And I honestly, if he completely mugs off the Premier League and says, I'm just going for that, then maybe, because then he won't play any of the best players in the league games. But I don't think we've got a squad that can win a trophy. I don't think we've got the squad to rotate so often that it's going to get us over the line in the end. And I don't see it personally.
I don't think we've not got the manager to rotate still, rather than the squad.
That as well, yeah. It's a bit of everything, Savva. It's the squad, it's the manager, it's the owners. It's all of it, the whole thing for me.
Do you know the funniest thing about today, right? I mean, I'm trying to look for something positive, right? I thought the goalkeeper was fantastic today. Kinski, he really looked really good. But the funniest part for me today was when I think about Kinski and all the things we've had with our goalkeepers, when I watch Raya line up for that penalty, if anyone's seen, and you can't play it on here, but when you get a moment, go and look at one of those penalties that Raya died for. I mean, it's one of the most embarrassing attempts at trying to save a penalty. Not only does he go, have you seen it, guys?
No. I saw the penalty shootout.
Yeah, I saw the
penalty shootout.
No, there's one penalty you need to have. It'll probably be out there. Someone will be trolling him. Yeah, it's a very embarrassing penalty save. Attempt at saving. It was like a double jump to the right when he kicked it left. Yeah.
Yeah. I know the one you mean.
Go and have a look at it, guys. After the show, obviously not right now, and coming off the stream.
But
Go on, Alex.
I do think it's okay to say that the goalkeeper's okay, but I just think this shouldn't be a situation where we should say, oh, these players are okay. It's a non-league team. You should just be beating them. You know what I mean? This is where I have my issue at the moment. You see what I'm saying? It's like this is where I can't give a lot of praise because these are part-time players. This is what worries me at the moment. You see, and for me, that's all. That's really what I want to say.
I thought we'd play. Do you know what? I really wanted to see us play the under-21s or something like that, or close to it, because pre-season the kids looked really good against Hearts, against QPR. I thought, do you know what? They played together, they trained together. Let them go and play Tamworth Town. We'll beat them. We'll win 2-3-0 with the kids. But he's gone for this mix-mash players out of position formula, and it just looked rotten. I kind of, do you know what? I wish he was braver and just said, I'm going to go with the kids like I did pre-season. And if at half-time we're in trouble, I'll change it all. I'd rather he'd done that, because I think those kids would have been more coherent as a team. I think that's a game we could have taken the risk in, but he didn't.
I thought the kids were going to play today. I really did.
So.
I thought we saw more, but that was disappointing.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but again, it's another chance today for Archie Gray to play centre mid. I mean, we're now in his first year. We've now made it through to the middle of January without seeing Archie Gray start a game in central midfield for Tottenham Hotspur. Like it's truly baffling. If you were comfortable to, like, why couldn't Spence have played centre half then for 90 minutes so Gray could have gone in midfield? What? This is. Let's really have a look at that bloke who played up front.
Or Dorrington Savva. He played Dorrington against Southampton, the Premier League team. Why can't he play Dorrington against Tamworth?
Where was Dorrington? Where was he? Why wasn't he starting today?
This is what we're saying. He could have played.
It's very strange.
I mean, look, guys. I want to look at. That was the biggest decision that baffled me, was definitely the Porro decision. And that one completely goes against any of these people telling me that he's got no players to rotate when he doesn't do that. That for me blows their argument completely out of the water. Oh, Porro's tired. Well, that's on Ange now, because Ange, again, had a chance to give him a whole 90 minutes, 120 minutes off. And if I'm not wrong, didn't Porro play the entire game?
Probably, yeah.
He did.
If I'm right, Porro's played the entire game. And then against Arsenal, people will go, Porro's tired. Yeah.
Savva, that North London derby is going to be such a dross, because both teams played 120 minutes. Both teams have got injury problems. It's going to be the most lethargic spectacle you've ever seen on Wednesday night. Both teams are knackered, man. More them than us. More them than us.
I want to move forward to Arsenal in a minute. Before I do, just want to say, so the FA Cup draw, look, the shining light today is that we did go through. I mean, I'm not that sort of fan, by the way, that goes, oh, well, we move on. I look at that and go, that was bloody embarrassing. I can't really remember a worse game. But we are through, and then we've drawn Aston Villa away, which is interesting, right? Because we've had Aston Villa's number recently. We have had their number recently. But you would still have picked many other opposition, I suppose, than going to Villa Park. How are we feeling about Aston Villa away in the fourth round of the Cup?
The only saving grace are in the Champions League at the moment. That's the only saving grace at the moment. And they might, you know, it would be a difficult game, and it might be one of those games where it's, you know, it depends on how Ange adapts. But I think the only thing for me is that, you know, it's away from home as well, which we've in the League Cup, we've had a lot of home games, I've noticed, against like the main teams. So that's really come in our favour a little bit. But I don't know what Tottenham tie is going to turn up.
We can beat them. Listen, I think because they come to play Villa, I think that gives us the best chance. It's when they go for a low block is where we're going to have our biggest problem, Alex. No.
I don't know what team's going to turn up, Johnny, at the moment. Because Johnny, I'm sorry, no one's going to tell me to be optimistic anymore about this manager anymore, because the record just doesn't look good. Right, the patterns don't look good at all.
It's going to be a tough game. It's two teams that you would call the so-called bigger clubs in the Premier League drawn against each other. It's the fixture of the tie. All eyes on that game. It's anyone's game. We can win it, we can lose it, right? That's how I look at it. This is a classic cup tie of two big football clubs in the Premier League. It's going to go either way. We can win it. Johnny's right. We can lose it. On the day, we'll find out. To predict the outcome, God knows, man. But I think both teams will go for it, and both teams will give it a right go. I think we'll definitely go out there and give it a go. And I think Villa will give it a go as the home side. They'll want to knock us out. And 100%. Unai Emery has got a good cup record. So is Ange. So this has got the makings of an actual classic.
I think it'll be a great game. Savva, can I read that joke out I sent you earlier?
Mate, go for it. Go for it.
Right, we need some humour. Guardiola, Amorim, Slot and Postecoglou and Arteta are in the pub. And Guardiola buys a round of sangrias and they all enjoy a lovely drink. And then Amorim goes to the bar and buys a round of red wines. Next, Slot goes up and buys a round of beers. Then it's Ange's turn. He buys 4 more beers. And Arteta turns to him and says, "Excuse me, Mr. Postecoglou, but where's my beer?" And he says, "Sorry, this is the 4th round, mate. You're not in it."
Arsenal. Any Arsenal fans watching? Any Arsenal fans? Hey? Where are you?
I've noticed that Angus isn't here tonight. Johnny, by the way, I've got your WhatsApp.
Oh, thank you.
I'll sort that out. Don't worry before you go. Yeah. Look, anybody else? Aston Villa away. I suppose, Dan, I'll come to you. My feeling, the first thing my uncle said to me today, watching the country, what do you think, Villa away? And I turned around and I said, I have no idea anymore what Tottenham will turn up. Like, I genuinely don't know. Is it going to be the Tottenham that beats Liverpool City? Or is it going to be the Tottenham that can't beat Fulham, can't beat Bournemouth, can't beat Brighton, can't beat Forest, can't beat Ipswich, can't beat Palace, can't beat Tamworth in 90 minutes, can't beat Galatasaray, can't beat Roma, can't beat Glasgow? Which Tottenham are we going to get, Dan?
No confidence at all. I've got to be honest. Nothing. I'm not happy. I'm not happy how things are going with the manager, the team. Players today so disappointed me. The players more than the manager today. I just can't see us beating Villa. Villa will be up for it. And you could say, oh, we've been okay in the Cups. But when you actually look at some of those performances, or most of the performances, we haven't performed well. You know, especially Europa League, Coventry away. I just don't see where this is going right now, I'm afraid. I just don't.
Yeah, and
I'm sorry, I've got to be honest. That's how I feel.
No.
Today was just absolutely embarrassing.
No, look,
that performance
be honest.
We should have thrashed them 4-5-0. Should have been comfortable. We should have all enjoyed ourselves. Yeah, not get carried away, but we should have seen some of the young players put in some good performances leading into the Arsenal game Wednesday. But what we got was dross.
Dan, I said,
do you know what it is?
I said to Lubo, before the game, I turned around and I said to Lubo, I said, you know what, Ian? I said, I'm so glad we can have a nice calm day today. We're going to probably win 4 or 5-0, and then we can worry about the storm on Wednesday night for Arsenal. Yeah. And then we put in that one of the worst performances I've ever seen. And you know what? There are games where you play badly, but it's another game where I'm guessing all you 4 like me are looking at the bench going, Ange, do something. Like, Ange, mix up some tactics. Ange, do something. Stands there, arms folded, doesn't do anything. Even when he was giving them the talk before the extra time, you see it's all a little bit lackluster. There's no real oomph. There's no goal. There's no drive. But
the players, Savva, why weren't the players just turning up and getting the job done? The players is responsible as well.
And do you know what it is? Right?
I agree, but Dan, when this is becoming the norm, when this is becoming like 4 wins in 16,
Tamworth, man, Tamworth.
Dan, I agree.
Shocking.
But my point is, this is becoming the norm.
He's not wrong.
Right?
He's not wrong.
This is becoming the norm, Dan. Right?
Yeah.
We went to Glasgow Rangers. Everyone going, they're shit. We're going to batter them. They played us off the park. We were lucky to get a draw. Yeah. Right? Oh, Palace. They've not won a game all season. Palace win their first game against us. Ipswich haven't won a game all season. Ipswich win their first game against us.
Hey, Coventry away was shocking as well.
Coventry away was dreadful. Galatasaray was dreadful. I thought we were dreadful actually against AZ Alkmaar at home. I thought we were really, really poor against Ferencvaros. I think if you actually add it up, Dan, how many games have we actually looked good this year? And the question I'm going to ask you all before we move to Arsenal, I keep hearing that we're an attacking team that play good football. Does anyone enjoy watching Spurs? I think we are the most boring team out there. We are so one-dimensional. Pass across the back, pass to midfield, pass it back. I'm bored of it.
So, you know,
it comes back to what I said earlier about consistency. Okay, Dan's spot on. 90 minutes extra time against Tamworth. Under no circumstances should any Premier League or Championship club ever tolerate that. That standard ever, 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 ever be accepted if you're a serious football club. And because we won the game, it masks over everything that happened before the winning goals, right? And this is where I totally agree with Dan. But what I agree with you as well is we've seen it this season too many times. You're supposed to beat Palace. You're supposed to beat Ipswich, Rangers, all these teams. But we keep masking over the cracks. We keep somehow either getting away with it, or what we do is, and this is where the inconsistency comes in, we go to Man City and do what no one's done in 20 years. We go and spank them 4-0. We go and play Liverpool. They've lost one game all season. We beat them. We go and knock Man United out of the cup. Man United, they go to Anfield, get a result. They go to Arsenal today, knocked them out. Well, we beat them twice. It's almost like when we're supposed to get something done, we either don't do it or we make an absolute dog's dinner out of it. When we're supposed to struggle and actually we expect disaster, we somehow find life and we do things that we don't expect. We're the most unpredictable, inconsistent side in the league, in my opinion. And when you and I link this back to your statement of, is the football actually good? I find the inconsistency unbearable to watch. It almost kills any excitement I have that when we do actually play well, and I think that was actually a very good performance, I can't get excited with it because I know what comes after. It's going to be this horrible football, this poorly managed game, and it just puts me off. But then just when you think, that's it, I'm not watching Spurs again, they'll go and beat Aston Villa 4-0, and you're like, oh, fucking hell. We were actually quite good in that second half. It's almost like, here's enough to keep you on board, but I'm not going to give you what you really want. And that's what kills it for me, Savva. That's what's killing this season for me. That inconsistency is so hard to... Maybe you guys are right with it, but for me, I struggle to watch the inconsistency.
I tend to agree with you, Stelios. I don't like the football. I don't think the football's very good at all.
But when it's good, Alex, it's actually quite good.
No,
but
you
don't know when you're going to get it.
I
don't know when you're going to get it.
I don't feel it's very, very good. I've got to be honest. I don't think he's doing well with the players. I think he's killing the most of them. I don't think he's actually training I think these young players are not learning properly. Even though some of them supposedly look good, I think the word that I have to use with most of these players now is composure, right? And I think it sums it up with Bergvall. Bergvall, he was very lucky today because he's very rash, right? And it just looks to me that someone's just not coaching him to be a very much. And I know he's 18 years old, but this goes back to what I say about having experienced players next to him, because I don't think he's actually learning the real work of how to be a proper player at the moment. You know what I mean? Yeah, he did that one ball over the top, which I thought, yeah, that was quite good. But I do feel that some of our young players are going to not thrive under this sort of this sort of manager and sort of things, because I just don't feel comfortable with it. And this is why I think we're very, very inconsistent. You know, it was only later on in the game where I've started to see us starting passing it about very quickly. But like Dan said, and this is what I said earlier, it was going to always happen like that because they're a non-league team. So they're not going to have the fitness of a Premier League team. So we were always going to override them, weren't we? You know what I mean? So this is where I don't think it's good football. I don't think the players are improving, which is even more concerning for me. I think they're just showing a little bit more energy because they're youth, they're young. For me, I still stick by what I say. Spence is only playing well because he's sticking it to Ange, saying, why do you ignore me for the last how many months? For me, okay, I don't care what anybody says to me. That's my opinion, right? And I'm sorry, Yes, he's going to have the whole season, regardless whether he wins a cup or not, because he would have been sacked by now, right? Because the record says he's losing more than he's winning, right? But for me, I can't do this manager anymore. And even he wins the cup, he's going to have to do a lot more to get me on board. I'm sorry. That's my opinion on that one.
There's one glimmer of hope here, right, guys? In a weird way, we do well when we do better when we play teams who obviously don't play the low block, right? Where we play on the counter. That's the only glimmer of hope we have. If you look at the Man City, Liverpool, Manchester United, when they've given us space, we've got the results. So that's the only glimmer when we play on that, when we're forced to play that way, because I'm not totally convinced Ange does adapt.
What happened against Arsenal? What happened against Arsenal?
Arsenal played the low block.
Yeah, but Arsenal came to our ground. Yeah, because he knows that he can't do that, and he backed himself to actually score. On the break, they thought we're going to kill him on set pieces at some point, but we never looked like we were going to do anything. It was a piss poor performance. I've got to say, the only class act today, again, is one of the youngest players, Archie Gray. He came out after the game and he says it wasn't good enough. 90 minutes, no excuses, no bullshit. Says it exactly as it was. Goes into the crowd, takes off his boots for some little kid, spends time with it, doesn't go off sulking, doesn't go off, kicking off, thinking he's some prima donna, right? This is a kid that's been brought up the right way. And I don't think the rest of the team is like that. And I'll take your mind back to James Maddison being taken off at half-time against West Ham. When those goals went in that second half, he didn't celebrate one of them. This is a guy who's meant to be our backup captain, our number 2. I don't think it's all rosy in the Angepostecoglou, James Maddison camp, personally. I just don't. And, is he really coming off and sat there and being taken off all the time and he's going, oh, yeah, I'm really happy with this. And when he goes home at night or he's with his mates and they're in the little groups, he's not bitching about Ange. I'm not sure. I think James Maddison is probably an instigator of any trouble, if there is any, within the camp, personally. I just don't. I'm not sure.
Hang on, is there anything to suggest that? I look at it the other way, and I don't.
He's
there's nothing
pissed off a lot of times. He's been pissed off a lot of times.
Yeah.
Off. Do you think he's happy with that?
No. I'm not saying he is, but I get the feeling that James Maddison's probably one of the only ones who's told Ange what he thinks about his stinky tactics.
Yeah,
and he's probably the one that's now being. Maddison's always the scapegoat. It doesn't matter whether Maddison plays well, scores, assists. Maddison is the scapegoat. When Kulu has a bad game, never taken off. Sonny, hardly ever taken off when he has a bad game. Right? None of these other players seem to be scapegoats. James Maddison constantly seems to be the scapegoat. I don't know what.
Yes.
Gets it.
So my point here is, at what stage does the ego kick in and says, well, what the fuck's this about? Why is this happening to me? And do you not think, he's sitting there talking. Look, let me tell you, when he came off the other day, and I'm trying to think who it was, the kid that was sat next to him, he had his hood pulled up and he was pissed off. And they were like sort of saying, are you all right, James? Are you okay? That is not a leader. That is not someone, when you've been taken off and you're meant to be the deputy captain, and your team scores another 3 goals, you should be up there celebrating every single one of them, no matter what you think personally about the manager or your treatment. That's my opinion. I just think that he's.
I also think that there's no mentality there, Johnny. There's no mentality in the squad. Like when we scored that goal today, look how many of them players were like, it was almost like we were 5-0 up the way they scored. That should have been when we got that first goal. Grab the ball, get back to the spot. Let's what we're doing, guys. We've been shambolic here. Get the ball, play on. Let's go again. Let's go. It was just all. I think Maddison, it's highlighted more. I watch a lot of them. They all don't seem happy. I know people keep saying they're playing for him, but today, did they look like they were playing for him? When we lost 6-3 to Liverpool, were they playing for him?
No.
When we conceded 4 goals in an hour to Chelsea, did it look like they were playing for him? It's funny that whenever we win a game, they look like they're playing for him. Whenever we don't win a game, it's but injuries. I just think there's something very wrong.
Do you think it's, you see, what I'm trying to work out here is he's deputy manager, a deputy captain here. I'm trying to work out here, is his behaviour due to the poor way that Ange has treated him and the poor way that has Jed Spence, for example, spoken to James Maddison? Yeah, he treated me like that as well. You know, these conversations go on. I'm surmising here. I'm not basing it on facts, by the way, but I'm just saying that, you know, he's been taken off, sometimes rightly, other times wrong. There's games where, how the hell is Brennan Johnson still on that pitch?
Because he likes him.
Baffling. Completely baffling. Yeah,
because he likes him. That's why. He likes him.
Who's better today, Brennan Johnson or Madison?
Madison all day.
Who came off?
Madison. Yeah, exactly.
But that's why my theory is why, because I don't think he likes Spence. Right? Because this is why I say Spence is playing well to spite him. Because I think Spence is that type of guy. I think he's got a little bit of arrogance about him, a bit of narrow about him, saying, "Well, I don't really care about you, mate. I know how to play football. I'll show you. You get what I'm saying?" And I think Maddison's got a little bit about that as well. You see what I'm saying? So that's why you see him sulking a little bit. You see what I'm saying? So I can make you right, Johnny. I think you're right a little bit, but this is why I say the theory about his Spence at the moment is he's not playing well because of him. He ain't playing well because of Ange.
No. Well, listen, I couldn't be much closer to that story, right, if I tried, but I would just say to you that the way he's been treated by Ange, you know, is not right. You know the basics of it, because you know that he was asked to stay, and then he's dumped out the Europa League squad. Then he was told he was going to play in the cup game, and the first cup game against Coventry, he wasn't even started in his right back role, and he only got a game because Destiny got injured. He scores the goal that got us back in the game in the 87th minute, and how was he rewarded the next game? Dropped. Yeah, that's
why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling at the moment.
Yeah,
you see,
I get it.
And does anybody trust this manager to get any more forwards for this club?
Get any what? Forwards?
Get any wide forwards or get any forwards for this club? Does anybody trust anybody? Our manager.
Away forward. Away forward or forwards?
Forwards.
Are you talking about signing forwards?
Signing forwards. Yeah,
they are trying to do that.
He signed how many forwards, wingers, strikers, whatever you want to call them, has he signed in 3 windows? And how many of them are actually any good?
Exactly.
We got more wingers than Nando's, mate.
Mate, we got so many. And I'll be honest, I'm watching Solomon play for Leeds and going, you know what? I'd have you back in our first team. That's how bad I think all of his signings. And again, it's the signings where he goes, this one was mine, mate. I wanted this guy. Look, guys, I want to move to Arsenal. I've got 10 minutes left of the show. We're going to end the show at 22. What I will ask is, first and foremost, I should probably Ian JD, big up to you, has said, put this team and Ange's tactics against any Spurs team in the last 15 years and it gets beat every time. Well, it will certainly get beat by Harry's team. It would certainly get beat by Poch's team. And dare I say it, I think Conte and Mourinho would out-tactic this manager for fun. I agree with you, Ian. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. What I would say is, guys and girls, we are only 5 subscribers away from 15.5K. It's been really poor tonight on the likes and the subscribers. Please show the love. Everyone here has given up a lot of time for everyone tonight. And we've only got 360 likes and there's 805 of you in here, not even 50%. So please do smash that button. And as I said, 5 subscribers from 15.5. Guys, I suppose the one thing that did make me laugh was seeing in WhatsApp groups all my Arsenal mates lose their mind again. 10 men for a long time against Man United. I mean, you think about it. They did half an hour of extra time, and then what? 35 minutes in normal time. They did over an hour with a man advantage. Couldn't break them down. They got knocked out on penalties. We play them at the midweek. They've got injuries piling up. We've got some injuries piling up. Ours are actually starting to come back a bit. But guys, what are we expecting here? Because I'm going to ask this question. Is either manager under threat from Wednesday night? Because Arsenal now, it looks like they're going to be dumped out of both cups. If they don't win against us, they're going to be 9 points off the top and Liverpool will have a game in hand. And if Spurs don't win, we could be 14th.
Only if Liverpool beat Forest. They've got Forest away, Liverpool. It's a tough game.
Sure, but even then, Liverpool have got a game in hand. So my point is they're going to be miles off it, right? If we don't win, we could be 14th in the Premier League table, and we could be 12 points off of a European Conference League position in the league. Could. So, is anyone under threat? What are we expecting? How are we going to set up? Is this going to be the battle of the who's fatigued and injured and stuff? What do we make of it? Arsenal away.
I think the Arsenal game right now for me is now we need to start grinding out results now. It's not even about how we start to play anymore for me.
Yeah.
Right. Because at the end of the day, Arsenal are going for a championship. Right. So the thing that Arsenal fans are not happy about is that they can't Arteta's not getting anything over the line in the big games. We're getting big trophies. Right. The concern for me at the moment is that we're free falling in the league because the cup runs like Poch, but Poch was doing better than this. But like Ramos, right, are masking over our league form, right? And the thing is, though, we are not grinding out results. I'm seeing Man United now getting it now, right? Amarin's sitting there thinking, I need to start getting results now. I'm not here. I'm not here to forget Europe. I need to get results because this team can't get relegated, right? And I'm not saying we're relegation candidates, but it's getting really concerning that we're not waking up. You get what I'm saying? It's like, oh, we need to play good football. Great, but you're 12th in the league, bruv. You know what I mean? You need to start getting results now. You know what I mean?
I think Amarin, in all honesty, would probably end up the season. I wouldn't be surprised if he won the Europa League, the guy, because he's decided, I'm going to play my system. I'm going to find out who can play my system. This is the system, back three.
But he's adapting, though. He's adapting.
He is adapting. I mean, they've ground out the results. I thought there were two fantastic performances right up against it at Liverpool and today, with the 10 men. They're playing for him already. Personally, I don't think it will matter what happens to Ange, even if we get beat against Arsenal. I think if we lose against Arsenal, lose against Liverpool, I think the deciding games will be how we perform against Everton and Leicester. Anything other than victory against those two, then I think he could be in jeopardy. But
he needs to get results, though, Johnny. He needs to get results regardless.
He needed results weeks ago. He needed results weeks ago, in my opinion. But, he's not getting rid of him before the end of the transfer window, which is the 3rd of February, which is after the Brentford away game. So it could be a situation where we don't win again before the transfer window closes, because who have we got? We have got Arsenal. Then we got Everton. Then who have we got? Leicester, Brentford, is it?
Leicester, Brentford, yeah.
Yeah, Leicester, Brentford.
Johnny, can I just let you know, right, going into this week, just let me paint the scenario. I said it. So we go away to Arsenal, right? Manchester United have got Southampton at home, right? Man U have got the Saints at home, and I fully expect Man United to win that game. West Ham, with their new manager, have got Fulham at home. Now, I'm not saying that's easy, but if West Ham and Man United both get results this week, if they win and we even just draw at Arsenal, Tottenham Hotspur, I'm going to show you this. I'll come back to that comment in a second. I'm not making this up, guys. For all these people that keep telling me how lucky we are to have Ange Postecoglou, right? I will never understand why. Look at this. West Ham United and Man United can both go on to 26 points this week. So if we don't win, let's assume we even draw, we are going to be 14th in the Premier League table. And Crystal Palace, by the way, Crystal Palace, who could also go level with us on points, but we've got a much better goal difference. Crystal Palace are away at Leicester, who are in dreadful form. So we could be in a position, guys, where come Wednesday, Thursday evening, we could be 14th in the Premier League, level on points with the team in 15th. Let that sink in. So for all the people telling me you don't deserve Ange, you don't. No, I don't. So for me, this should be, if we're a big club, this should be, if you don't beat Arsenal, you're gone. For me, this should be, because this, when was the last league game we won? Anyone?
Way to Southampton.
Way to Southampton, who sacked their manager an hour after we beat them.
So I don't think we're going to lose to Arsenal. I'll be honest with you.
No, I don't either. Still, neither do I.
I don't think we're going to lose to them. Our record there is horrendous. It's, in fact, since the Emirates opened, we've got a worse record at the Emirates in all competitions in the league, just in the league than anywhere else. But that Arsenal performance against Brighton, Man United today, the injuries mounting up, it's getting toxic at that club. Newcastle knocking them out the cup. They're there for the taking, but I don't think we'll beat them, though, because if you actually watch the Arsenal games, they're creating chances. They're either missing them, like sitters, or the goalkeeper of the opposition is playing really, really well. So we need them to continue missing these sitters and for our goalie to have a really, really, really good game, which is why I don't think we'll beat them, because I think they will score one or two past us, but I think we're going to put a couple past them as well. They're very vulnerable. They're looking leggy. Their football isn't great at the moment. It's pretty shit. I think we're going to get a draw. I think Spurs
if we beat them, Stell, I think if we beat Arsenal, that will be him stay of execution all the way to the end of the season. That's my thing.
I agree.
He'll get a 3-year contract extension.
I'm telling you,
if Arsenal, the thing is, the worry for me is if Arsenal score their chances. That's the thing. We need to, but we do score goals. But I do feel that Arsenal are not silly, though. They're not silly. They're not going to give us space. You know what I mean? So this is where Andrew's got to be very, very
Alex,
clever
they
here.
scored one against Brighton, one against City, United, one against Newcastle. They're not scoring goals. Look, they're either going to. This is the game where they put all their chances to bed and they put 4 past us, and we're going to be like, yeah, Dr. Tottenham's arrived, or they're going to continue the trend. Mate, they had another 2 players that went off injured today. I think the trend's going to continue. I honestly think we're going to get a draw at Arsenal.
Well,
we're going to get a draw.
We need to grind out results right now, and we need to go to the Emirates and do what Man United done. I think the thing is, though, Newcastle and Man United have shown us today, shown us the last week or so, what to do against Arsenal. Right, so there's none of this. And what I don't want to hear anymore about injuries. I don't want to hear about injuries anymore, right? Because I didn't hear these injuries against Liverpool when we won, which ironically we ground out that result, right? Because the players decided to go deep. So for me, like, we should be, because they're going to have a low. They will have a low block. They will play defensively, right? Right. They'll play Rice. They'll play Marino. They might play Partey. I don't know. But
Marino's injured. I think Marino's injured.
No, I think Marino's all right. I think Marino was all right. It was Jorginho that went off.
But they'll play
Gabriel Jesus went off on a stretcher.
Jesus went off.
There's a question in the chat from Sean that I want to get to, which I think is a really good talking point. Just quickly, though, just want to say, you do know that I know everyone's talking about how bad Arsenal are. Arsenal haven't lost in 10 Premier League games. Like, I know we're all sitting here going, they're dreadful. Like, they lost to Newcastle and got knocked out on penalties today.
That's why we won't beat them, Savva. That's why we're not going to beat them.
In the Premier League, they've not lost for 10 games, right? They've won 3. In their last 15 points, they've taken 12 or something like that. Like, they're not, they're not great at the moment. They're not like champions great, but they're not losing games either. And I just wanted to get this question out. So big up Sean, who's asked this question. I think this is the real Sean. I never know now. People make so many different accounts. I think it is. Said, if we win the Carabao Cup and go deep in both other cups, are you happy to give Ange another season if the league finished circa 12th? It's a good question. Oh, Alex, straight in, and Alex straight in the box. So we win the cup, Alex. We finish 12th, 11th, something like that. We get to the semis of the FA Cup and the Europa League. You would still sack him?
No, because the thing, it just feels like another what is it, Ramos situation. Yeah, and I feel, yeah, it's just
we'd be in Europe, Alex.
And I don't feel coach. I don't. It's the coach thing for me. I think it's the way he's treating the players at the moment. I think there's only one way for me. I just think he. Yeah, I just don't feel this manager's. It's just not for me anymore. It's just not for me. That's personally. I think
go on, Alex.
No, go on. You finish.
I was just going to say, I just believe that if Arsenal score the first goal, it will be curtains for us because.
Agreed.
I just think that with what you said, Partey, Rice, whatever, they'll sit back, draw us in, and be confident that they can defend against us and hit us on the counter-attack because that's where we're most vulnerable. We can't beat the low block like it happened in the first game, which was almost like a non-event. They feel they can do us at set pieces or they feel like they can hit us on the counter. I think if we score the first goal, then Arsenal have to come out at us. And then that's our best chance of actually getting a result or at least getting a draw. But I am confident somehow. Don't ask me why I'm confident after today's performance and some of the others in the league. But something tells me that I reckon we're going to get something out of it. And I think getting something includes getting a draw.
I agree with Johnny. I think Arsenal are there right now. They're vulnerable. I think they're very vulnerable. I'm not listening.
Yeah. Still, they're not vulnerable, man. Come on,
mate.
Two defeats in the Premier League all season. We have got no hope in hell. What we did today,
Johnny,
my days.
Dan. We could have got a draw at White Hart Lane when we played them when they were actually in good form. In good form, we could have. Agreed. I think we go into this game playing a weaker version. And I think we can get something. Now, do I think we're going to beat them? No, I don't.
I agree with you there, Stel. A possible
hang on, you said weaker version. You said weaker version. Don't forget.
Weaker version.
Hang on. Don't forget the Arsenal that came to Tottenham and beat us were missing Declan Rice and Odegaard.
Yeah. We should have got a draw in that game, Savva, but we fucked it up.
I know, but they came to our ground missing 2/3 of their midfield. Yeah. And let's be brutally honest. I don't think we laid a glove on them in 90 minutes. And people were going, "Oh, we dominated." I don't think we dominated. I think they dominated us without having the ball.
There's a difference this time. I'll tell you what it is. They don't have Saka, their key man. They look completely different without Saka. They don't have their backup defenders. Calafiori out injured. Timber went off injured today. Attacking wise, they've got no options to bring off that bench. Now, Nyamweri's injured, and now Jesus has gone off injured.
Yeah.
In midfield, they can't change it. Jorginho went off injured. They've got nothing left. So for me, this is a weaker version than the one we played before. Also, I think we've got the benefit of we're quite used to playing with injuries now. It's the norm. The players we've got missing, we're used to it. So I think we go into this game used to playing with whatever we've got. They're going to have to learn to adapt. And I think they're vulnerable. Do I think we'll beat them? No, because I think set pieces, they're still bloody dangerous and we're still not that great at defending them.
Do you not think Arteta's going to have them fired up, though, Stel? Like, I just feel like Arteta's going to say, right, guys, last 2 games at home, we've lost to Newcastle in the Cup, and it was a poor performance. We've lost to Man United in the Cup. Guys, you owe these fans. Now, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, right? I'm just sitting on the fence. Yeah. I just get the feeling that Arteta will be for his job more than anything as well, Stel, because we're starting to see what we saw a few years ago. Arsenal fans are getting on his back big time. They're almost out the League Cup. They're out the FA Cup. With all the best will in the world, I don't see them. I'm not saying never. I just don't see them winning the Champions League, and they're not going to win the Premier League. So for me, I just think he's going to go into them and go, guys, right, we're going to be a solid base, right? Because let's be fair, no matter who plays at the back, Gabriel and Saliba are going to play, right? Gabriel and Saliba are going to play at the back, and they're going to say, right, you know what Spurs do. Don't give them the space, and let's counter-attack. Now, whether or not they've got the attackers, I agree with you.
But, yes, look, they're the favourites. Arsenal are the favourites to win this. They've got the home advantage. They've got the record over us at their ground where I think we've won once there in the league in 20-odd years, God knows what. But both their left and right backs are out now as well, Savva. Listen, if Ange gets this right, if he goes there, sets up, or at least to a similar essence, replicates Man United's tactic, and we play that counter-attacking game down the flanks where their wing-backs are out, we can pull them out of shape, we can get into them. I'm Ange out. And to answer that question earlier, if Ange wins the Carabao Cup, I couldn't care less where we finish. I would give Ange another couple of years because he would have won the Carabao Cup beating City, United, and Liverpool, and either Arsenal, Newcastle in the final.
Fair.
That is so if he can do that, that is, listen, hats off to him. I'll be apologising left, right, and centre on YouTube. I'll be in the mud, digging my own holes, but I don't believe he's going to win it. So
he always wins. Still, come on, we know he said it himself. He always wins in his second season, and who are we to say
Johnny? I think Anfield's going to be a rude awakening for a lot of fans who are getting caught up in this. But if I'm wrong,
going, so it'll be a rude awakening. You going still?
No, I'm not going. No.
All right. I'm going. I go with hope, and I will come back, no doubt, with a tail between my legs.
The only problem I have at the
Anfield
moment
is the biggest curse for this club. Only we can score the equaliser in the 92nd minute and lose it in the 94th. That ground is just.
You know what, Stel? Let's be fair, guys. Anfield isn't just a fortress in the UK.
It hates
Madrid, Barcelona, Munich. These teams hate going to Anfield, Cup night, under the lights. Listen, I'm not saying we can't beat them. I'm not saying that. Listen, I think there's a lot of things that can happen between the 12th of January and the 6th or the 5th that we play them. And, there's a lot that's going to happen. I think you hit the nail on the head earlier. The week before, both Romero and Van der Ven are due to come back. That's going to complicate things. Do they both come back at the same time? Does one come back in? Does putting them both back in when they're not fully fit? Let's be fair, guys. Does any of you disagree with me? We're going to face an onslaught at Anfield. It won't be like the Liverpool we saw in the first leg. They're going to be all over us, and it will be their best 11.
Savva, you know the answer, though.
Their best 11.
But Savva, you know the answer. What's going to happen when Romero and Van der Ven is going to be back? You know what's going to happen.
I know the answer. You know the answer.
You know exactly what's going to happen. You know the answer. One thing I will say, though, right? I am concerned about that midfield because if you're going to put Bergwijn in there, right? I know people. I don't think he's playing as well as what people are thinking, but I think he's been good, right? And I'm being harsh on him because I think he's very, very rash. And rash players against an Arsenal team, Arsenal have them all day, every single day. I'm sorry, you know what I mean? Because look what happened to was it Delat? Delit. No. The winger, the wing back. Dalot.
Yeah.
He got a second yellow card because he was rash, right? Bergwijn is very rash, and what you need in a game like that is composure.
Nothing a bit of cream won't sort out, Mr. Box Office. Hey? We all know if you
guys, I do want to wrap up the show because otherwise I really don't want to do another 3-4 outright. So look, all I'll say is this. By the way, I'm not saying we can't get to the final. But before I make any ridiculous predictions, I want to see what happens. What form are we in going into that game? Who's available? Are we going to go? I want to see what he does on the day. He needs a draw, remember. He needs a draw. Now, this can play with manager's psyche. Do I go for the draw? Do I go for the win?
When does Ange play for a draw ever?
No, I know. But still, this is the point. A manager that wants to make the final, let's see. There's a difference between a one-off game and going to this game with this conundrum.
Ange
right?
isn't doing that.
No, I know, but still, this is my point. Let's see how
He
good
should.
this manager
I agree,
is.
He should, but he's not going to do it.
Go to Liverpool and show us, right? First 20 minutes against Liverpool. I always say this, everyone laughs. Nothing silly. Go to Anfield. Don't get caught out of the back. No high line. Just make them, if they're going to beat us at Anfield still, make them beat us. Make them work for us. Don't gift them goals. Don't gift them 19 shots on target. Just make them break us down. So I want to see that. Listen, guys and girls, I just want to quickly say as well, one second. Where is it? Johnny, you wanted me to put this in the chat. You wanted to talk about this. You've got a new channel, right? Here, you've got a new channel.
Yeah, with myself and Sean called Football Link. We haven't put any content on there as yet, which is coming. But if you get a second, if you could hit that link there and try and get us going on the subs. It's going to be all things football, not just Spurs, finance, transfers, money, everything, VAR, whatever it may be, and all the clubs. There's crowded space with Tottenham channels, everyone doing their thing, and we thought we'd do our thing on this. So any support will be much appreciated. So if you could hit that link there, Sav, thanks very much for whacking that in there for us.
No worries.
Much appreciated. And give us some support. I know there's a lot of you out there that support Sean, and go and hit that button, even if you don't want to do it for me. Thank you very much.
No worries. Look, guys, girls, everyone knows my feelings, whether or not, we're all out here making content. We're all out here fighting our own battles. Please subscribe to everyone on the panel. Subscribe to the new channel below, and good luck to you and Sean. Please subscribe to the Danalist. His shows are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So Dan, thanks for coming on. And please, if one of my mods would be so kind to whack their links in, that would be amazing. Please subscribe to Mr. Box Office. Please subscribe to Tottenham Away. And you tight gits, we are 2 subscribers away from 15.5K. So if 2 of you would subscribe to me, that would be amazing. Guys, really enjoyed tonight. We are through. Arsenal away next. Let's see what happens. But thank you very much for joining me and giving me your Sunday nights. Appreciated.
Cheers.
Come on, you Spurs.
Everybody, take care. And as always, come on, you Spurs.